Hey guys, welcome to my tarot astrology card video. I hope you like my new recording space. I've been waiting to record this video for a really long time, so rather than take up any more time trying to make it perfect, things like that, we're just gonna get right into this video. I'm really excited, and as I said, I've been really anticipating this video for a really long time. But before I begin with the actual tarot card video, I'd just like to say a few things kind of explaining why I'm doing this. So for those of you who know me personally, or maybe not even on a personal level, something that you know about me if I'm in your life is that I'm not quite like everyone else. Ever since I was a kid, ever, I've always been a spiritual person. It's been a long journey figuring out exactly why and what I am supposed to do. And along that journey, it definitely takes steps to realizing exactly what it all means, I guess. Well, like I said, I've always been connected to the supernatural world. And people say, like it might be nothing that someone speaks on all the time, but if you know me personally, you just know that there's something about me. Well, I'm figuring that out too. And one thing that I've realized about the spirit world is that it doesn't always make logical sense when it's interpreted in the world that we live in today. But I'm highly, highly connected to the supernatural and to the spirit world. And I didn't ever really know much about tarot cards, but I've always had a strange connection to them, almost like I was always meant to be around them or influenced by them in a way. But I finally found a place that had them, caught the last pack that they had. I've had them for, I want to say, about a month and a half now. So I've been working with them, and one of the things that I kind of wanted to do before I started working with tarot cards and tarot readings with outsiders or other people in my life, I wanted to go through the tarot deck and kind of explain each meaning for each zodiac sign. Haven't always known that there was a tarot card for each zodiac sign, but with me being a Pisces, Pisces are all 11 signs combined to make the 12th sign. And I thought, even before these tarot cards, I kind of just knew I was going to get them. And I would think about all the things that I wanted to do once I had them. But one thing I want to do to kind of enlighten my deck and charge it up, because these cards are very, very powerful and very, even when I touch them, I can just feel, it's definitely a connection between the other world. These cards were handcrafted. Every single detail means something, and it's a way for spirit to connect with us in a more physical way, which is great because we live in a very physical world. So, some genius created these cards with contact from spirit, and now we have tarot deck. And this is the original deck that I have. I'll be showing you more of that as we go on with the video. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to explain why I was doing this. It's very, very important to me as a tarot reader because, it's definitely time for me to start reaching out. I have a very special gift with these cards. I've given a few readings already to kind of enhance my deck. I've given light reading to an angel, and I've given a dark reading to a dark knight. So I feel like my cards have definitely had, both light and dark, and as a spiritualist, I understand the importance of that. There's only 12 zodiac signs, and so for each zodiac sign, there's a ruling card for that zodiac sign, and that's what I'm going to be explaining today to kind of honor each zodiac sign that is a part of me. And I really, you can't work with a tarot deck when the cards are missing. So I have my full deck over here, and I have the 12 zodiac cards that I'll be working with today separate from the rest of the deck. And I didn't always know that. I didn't always know the importance of keeping a tarot deck complete because there's 78 cards, 78 different interpretations, 78 different angels and ways to communicate with your guides. So it's I would say to be cautious to separate a to separate a tarot deck, just because it's almost like separating a family. And once I came to the knowledge of that, I really, really do, I'm cautious about that. But I know that I have to do this video, and I've waited long enough. I'm definitely ready. There's people hitting me up to do tarot readings, and I know that I just need to get this video out there. It's very important to me to basically honor each zodiac sign and what it means in the tarot deck. I think it's very critical for this information to be revealed before I, as a tarot deck reader, as a Pisces, branch out and actually start doing readings for people that I knew from my childhood and just random people who need these messages. So I'm just going to bless my deck before I do that, because I take this very seriously. It's very passionate for me. It took me so long because I wanted to work with my tarot deck. Like I said, I've had it for almost a month and a half, maybe 2 months. It feels like a really long time. It's definitely since I got my deck, it immediately opened up different portals and different paths in my life. It just makes it so much more powerful to be able to connect with spirit, at any moment. It's like a phone. If you have a tarot deck, you can just pick your deck up and receive messages from the beyond. And so, for a while, I kept the 12 cards separate, but I just kept feeling the urge to give readings, to my partner and to myself. I feel like this was a journey that had its own timing. So today must have been the day that I was supposed to do this. But like I said, I wanted to work with my tarot deck, and you can't get a full reading with 12 cards missing. So I'm going to go ahead and do this so that my card and my tarot deck can be ready as I am. So like I said, this is going to be a zodiac tarot reading for the 12 zodiac signs, and we are going to go ahead and just get started. Okay, well, I'm going to show you guys this first before we start. This is a zodiac wheel that I made. Now, I'm not really sure how the lighting is. It looks good on me. The lighting looks good on me, but there might be a glare. But yeah, this is the zodiac wheel. This is the wheel of karma, the wheel of our universe. Everybody in this universe falls somewhere on this chart. So here are the 12 zodiac signs for people who are very, very new to astrology. And this is Aries. So we're going to start, where we should start, which is with the first zodiac sign. So, like I said, there might be a glare problem, but I'm going to do my best to make sure the visual is okay here. So, here is the card for Aries, the first zodiac sign. I think it's better when I turn it a little bit sideways. So, we have the Emperor for the Aries card. Now, Aries, this is the perfect card for Aries, obviously. Aries is a very strong character. They're very... much like an emperor. What is an emperor? Someone who's in charge, someone who is king in a way. So whenever we see a tarot deck with a figure like this on a throne, then we know that this is a very powerful and authority card. And this is the first tarot. This is for Aries. So right off the bat, Aries is a fire sign. They're the cardinal sign. They're the first. I have a mad respect for Aries because they started this whole thing off. And who else could start an entire universe off other than an emperor like this, right? So Aries, you guys are very, very powerful people. Anybody who knows an Aries knows that they're powerful people. You might not see them like this, but your soul does. Your soul has a... it might cause jealousy in some people, but if you scare people or you seem intimidating, it's because this is who you are. So let's see. I have some notes here too, just so I don't forget to say anything, because I want to make sure to get this all across. So yes, Aries is the first zodiac sign, cardinal sign. And cardinal sign, and I'll explain more about this, but in the zodiac, there's 4 different elements and 3 zodiac signs per element, because 3 times 4 is 12, right? So we have 3 water signs, 3 earth signs, 3 air signs, and 3 fire signs. And we split up those signs by cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So cardinal signs. cardinal signs are the action signs in the zodiac, because we have to have action, right? Very important part of life. So this is the first cardinal sign, so it makes it even more, Aries are even more, and they are ruled by Mars, the planet of war, and this guy, I mean, he doesn't really look like he's going to war right now, but you see the look on his face? He's definitely making sure that he's not going to have to get up and do some things, because this man, he's very, very, and this is for female and male Aries. There's an Empress card too. So this man, you notice that he has armor on, very protected, very stern and bold figure, like he has to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that the stubbornness or almost meanness of Aries is misunderstood, because Aries, their soul has to sit like this man. If you're an Aries and you've always felt kind of responsible or in authority of something and you really didn't know why, it's because your soul is a reflection of the Emperor card. And you see a lot of red here, and you see the rams on the side of his chair. This is an Aries king. And this is a reminder that if you're an Aries, you're a king or queen at heart. Not everybody is going to be understanding about that, but spiritually, and you notice the man's long white beard in tarot. Whenever you see a figure like this, it's telling you that this is a very wise, experienced figure, and also the Emperor card is the father card of tarot. So when I'm just doing a reading, this card comes out a lot for me, and when I see this card, I thank this card, like, thank you, Emperor, for showing up, because he resides over all the tarot. He's the father or the king of the tarot deck, and when he shows up, it's just to tell the tarot reader that he blesses the reading, and that there's going to be, he gives you the authority. He's handing you the authority. And if you have that experience with an Aries, it just feels, if an Aries tells you good job, or if an Aries gives you their blessing, it's just, I'm not saying that if you're a random sign that it won't matter, but for some reason, this reason here, when an Aries said, like, how would you feel if this man said, good job, like, you're doing a very good job? Then you would feel like, wow, a figure of authority noticed me and they said I did a good job. So that's the Emperor card. So yes, all about leadership and a fearless attitude. This man is not afraid. And I'm not saying that Aries don't experience fear, but they do handle fear differently than any other zodiac, because Aries is the beginning of it all. There's so much journey, to be experienced after the first sign. There's 11 signs after that filled with just growth work, so Aries has to take on the world like this because they're first, and they're also known as God's favorite child. And take that lightly, because spirit is, it can't be translated like English, God's favorite child. They're just first, and that's just the Aries. I have respect for Aries because of this, especially because I'm very into the zodiac and into the tarot, and Aries must be respected and acknowledged for the work that they do. So thank you, Aries. And this is your guys' zodiac tarot card. So there we go. And another thing about this card is the little orb in the man's hand. That signifies the world, and it's an orange color because of all this fire energy with Aries. Aries is the cardinal fire sign, so they are on fire and hot. So, and also one thing before this, Aries rules the house of self. They are the first zodiac sign, so they kind of started this whole thing off with who they were. Every Aries that I know knows who they are. I'm not saying that they don't fall sometimes and that they don't, become afraid or unsure, but they know deep down who they are. How could they not? Look at this man. He's earned this spot. He's just who he is. He's the king. He's the queen. He's the ruler. So Aries rules the first house of self, and to have to represent something as so serious as who we are, the first house, Aries, the first house of self, who we are, the I am. That's why they're the ram, the I am. So Aries, if they didn't know who they were, it's almost like none of us would. So thank an Aries. So that is the Aries card, guys. Okay, so next up we have Taurus. the Hierophant card. And interesting, this is the second house in astrology, the season that we're on right now. We're in Taurus season until May 20th. So this is another, to follow Aries. This card comes right after Aries. So kind of, this is almost like a story. And the Taurus card is similar to the Emperor card. You know, they're both wearing red. They're both in almost an authority position. Remember I told you, anytime a character is in a throne or a higher position of sitting, then they're looked up to in a way. But Taurus is looked up to in a different way than Aries. This is more about advice. You see the two people listening, and it's like he's not saying anything. The Taurus isn't saying anything, and Taurus usually don't have to. Their energy will let you know what they mean. These two men, it's almost like I can feel that they come there every day to hear this speech. You know, they come to him. They're looking, and you can't see their face, but the energy of this card, it still is telling you that they come to this Hierophant and for advice. So this Tauruses need to see themselves as this man here. This is the position that you take in life. And I know for me, I have several Tauruses that I could think of now that I would love to ask for advice, but they're a bit intimidating. And they're just wise. Like they just know. So they're definitely, Tauruses are definitely, they are a fixed sign. But when we go around the zodiac wheel, it goes cardinal, fixed, mutable. So we did a cardinal, and this is a fixed. The next card, you guessed it, it's going to be mutable. So that's a kind of a pattern that we trines are very important in spirituality. And so we vary throughout the trine, you know, cardinal, fixed, mutable, so that the energy is spread out. So yes, Taurus is a very fixed sign. And to be a fixed sign, you know, cardinals are all about action. They have to stay who they are their entire life. Fixed signs are similar, but they, it's not so much just about action, but making action stable. Fixed signs are stable. They're stability. They are in between a mutable sign and a cardinal sign. So they are very fixed and stable. That word always comes to mind when I'm speaking of any fixed sign, because all the fixed signs just have such a way of succeeding at life, you know, the right way. So if I were one of these guys, I'd be standing there too to listen to what the Taurus has to say, because let me tell you something about Taurus. I have a Taurus moon. Tauruses, they rule the five senses. I didn't always know that about Taurus. So you have touch, taste, hear, see, and feel. Touch, taste, hear, sight, and smell. So the five senses are ruled by Taurus, and they also share a ruling planet with Libra. Taurus is ruled by Venus as well. The planet, the goddess of love, is what they call Venus. You know, and so to be able to handle that type of influence of a planet, because every zodiac sign has a ruling planet as well. And Taurus is Venus. So, and that represents, you know, the red cloak that he's wearing, you know, a symbol of his passion and love, him or her. This is all Tauruses. So yes, this man takes on a kind of a counsel or a guidance position. People come to him, and if you're a Taurus and people come to you a lot for guidance or approval or wisdom, any type of advice like that, if you don't feel like, oh wow, why do they care what I think? Well, it's because in your soul lies this Hierophant, and he has the power and the answers. You know, he has this speech every day. He just knows. And maybe the Taurus is modest and, you know, don't understand. You know, the man really isn't looking, this figure here, he's not looking down at the people that are kind of looking up like, oh, okay, well, what is he going to say next? Because I really need to know this. You know, he's not making eye contact with them, almost in a humble way. You know, Tauruses can be very humble as a fixed sign. You know, they get a lot of rap for being stubborn, but it's because Taurus can see life in the finest way, you know, whereas other people, you know, maybe don't care about the kind of lifestyle they live. Well, your Tauruses do. Taurus knows that they're here to live, and that they're here to live in the most efficient, easiest, best way, you know, and that's going to vary between what kind of Taurus. You know, every Taurus wants something different, but every Taurus wants to live a good life. They want to be stable, and they want to be happy. They don't want to worry. You know, this guy, you know, it'd be kind of scary to be one of these people here, and if this man started to worry, you know. So when you're a figure of almost like a role model for people of advice. You know, you keep your worry in, and maybe you approach your worry in a very stable way. You don't let it take over you, you know, because there's shit to be done. And Taurus is an earth sign, so they're very grounded, especially with being the master of the five senses. I know that comes in handy because as humans, sometimes our senses get the best of us, like emotion, things like that, because emotion can heighten certain senses. But as a Taurus, you know, they have a better chance at stabilizing that. And of course, it's going to draw a crowd, right? So let's see. They are a teacher. Tauruses are teachers and instructors. Very exploratory energy. But this card is all about mixing your spirituality and your authority together, which is probably explains why I get such a spiritual, and like when I start talking so much about the authority of this card, something inside me is like trying to remind me, because I'm a Pisces, I don't really associate spirituality with authority, but you know, spirituality is very, very broad thing, and everyone handles it differently. And this, because you know, I'm a soft Pisces, I don't really like to tell people what to do, and that's why I'm glad that there's figures like Taurus who can mix spirituality and stability and authority together. Because I can let you know right now, as a Pisces, sometimes I miss that part. You know, if I could just apply authority to my spirituality, which I'm sure my Taurus moon helps me with a little bit. But this Taurus sun person, when your sun is in the Taurus, female or male, you just got it going on when it comes to your outlook on life. You know, you might not know it because you're you, but from the outside looking in, a Taurus just, it doesn't matter how stable you are financial wise, they're just living life, and you just want to live like them a little bit. You know, they're definitely a role model in that way. And then I was definitely drawn to the two keys down here. When I first looked at this card, I did a lot of research on this before I'm doing this video. And the two keys represent, let's see, the two keys represent spirituality and earth, which is Taurus. Tauruses, people be sleeping on Tauruses. They might not think Taurus is so spiritual, but man, if I didn't know then, I know now, because Taurus season has definitely been spiritual for me, especially with me having Taurus in the South Node, Taurus in my 4th house, Taurus in my moon. It makes me realize, I reflect on my life like, oh yeah, when that happened to me, it was Taurus season. See, the Taurus energy is hard on me because it wants me to live better than what I'm living. You know, it's more stable than that, but I don't have it in my sun. I have Taurus in my moon, so it's more like teaching me about my emotions and my mood and stuff like that. And I can be so stubborn. It's definitely hard to have Taurus in your moon. I'm sure it's hard to have it in your sun when it's reflecting your entire personality. But if you keep this view of yourself, like after watching this video, any Tauruses out there, just know that there's an advice inside you, and that if people give you shit, and if people are kind of jealous of you, or they don't want to take your advice, it's because there's something they can sense in you. And they're just like, oh, how does she get it right? How does he get it right? Well, it's because they're a Taurus. So yeah, this card rules the 2nd house. Very important. Aries rules the 1st house of self. Taurus is the 2nd zodiac sign, ruling the house of what we value. So all Taurus season, I'm not sure about you guys, but I have definitely been shown what I should value, what I shouldn't value. Oh, do you value that enough? How much do you value this? Well, show me. And that's what Taurus is about. Tauruses have a way. I mean, if a Taurus doesn't like you, you're going to know it, because they're too grounded not to show you their real energy. They really could care less. Taurus, if they value you, you're going to know it. If they don't value you, you're going to know it, because they're going to show it. And you know, I kind of have respect for Taurus in that way, because there's so many people walking around who don't value you, but they want to pretend like they do, or mislead you, make you think that they do. You know, not many Tauruses are going to be like that, because they are compelled by the universe to be a symbol and a vessel for what real value is. And they are ruled by Venus, and Venus is a planet of value, a planet of fairness in partnerships, relationships. So, and I also, if you're dating a Taurus, I would definitely make sure that they feel valued by you, and that, you know, because this man, he should be valued for what he does. If we're talking about the tarot card here, you know, this man knows the key to spirituality, and he knows the key to authority, and to mix the two is just beautiful. You know, as a Pisces, I can say that is a great balance. And that explains why I feel that way around Taurus. And I didn't always know I had a Taurus moon, but that makes a lot of sense. Very passionate figure, you know. And the stubbornness of Taurus is very, very misunderstood. You know, if I was this man, I'd be a little stubborn too. So yes, they do rule the second house of value and worth. So is it worth it, Taurus? This card is about knowing your worth. This man does. They know his worth. And you know what? I think that they're talking to him so that they can better understand their worth. So if you're feeling a little low, or you know, feeling like you're not really know where your place is, holler at a Taurus. They'll tell you. They'll show you. And if you are a Taurus struggling with self-worth, especially during Taurus season or maybe recently, you need to get back in touch with who you really are inside. And you know, I wouldn't, you know, there might be Tauruses struggling with being humble. As a Taurus moon and a Pisces sun, I can definitely tell you that that's not easy, because I want to be this figure so bad, but my sun on Pisces just makes me kind of chill it down all the time. Like, well, who are you to give somebody advice? Chill out. You know, my Neptune always comes in like, all or one, all or one. So I struggle with that a lot. But if you're a Taurus, you know, just get back in touch with who you are, because you are this man. You do have the magic wand in your hand, and you see the bulls up here in the window. It's just all to honor you, Taurus, and to honor what you love and value in life. And that is up to you to decide. Don't let people tell you what you should and should not value, because that's your job, baby. Like, oh, shame on whoever tries to do that to a Taurus. That's all I'm going to say. So, yes, we did talk about Taurus being ruled by Venus and balance. So this card is also about balancing you and others, and you know, that's what the card is trying to portray here with two people and the man of authority, you know. So it's all about balancing your worth and the worth that you have for others. I like Taurus. Second house. Okay, so the third house, Gemini. We have the Lovers card. I like this card a lot going on with this card, so definitely take a look at it here. And you know, when I look at this card, I just feel such an Adam and Eve vibe, you know what I mean? Like, you see the woman and the man there, and then of course you can't forget the snake on the tree of knowledge, you know. So Gemini is the third house of communication. They are ruled by the planet Mercury. The planet Mercury is a very mental logic planet. And so that is the ruling planet of Gemini, making them the most excellent communicators of the zodiac. Most excellent. And it's not so much that they use big words or that they talk a lot. Gemini can say 3 words and you'll just know that they meant a whole story by it. You know, when I speak to Geminis, I can just feel the energy of what they meant to say. And I just admire that, because I'm someone who just explains, and I can talk for hours and hours and still feel like my point wasn't across as well as I could have got it. But Gemini probably doesn't really necessarily deal with that problem a lot, being ruled by Mercury. And they are the twins of Zodiac. They're the only Zodiac that has a twin. They are a mutable sign. So we have 4 different mutable signs. And with all the mutable signs, it's almost like you can just be whatever you want to be, because there's just so much. It's like you can be a mutant, you know, mutant, mutable, mutate. It's to make things a bunch of something, I think. Like when zombies are mutants, it's because they're not only one thing. It's like to mutate genes is to combine them. So in order to combine something, you have to have more than one thing. You can't really combine one thing. And Geminis are a perfect example of that, because there is not one of you, Gemini. There is 2 of you. And I feel like every Gemini inside feels that way. And as a Pisces, I can kind of relate, because we have it's called being a dual sign. And I think Pisces, Libra, and Gemini are the only dual signs, because we have 2. I have 2 fish. Libra has 2 balanced scales. Gemini, though, the main thing, they have 2 of what they are. So it's interesting, you know. So yeah. So this card, you know, I know it says the Lovers, but it's not necessarily a relationship card, especially when we're just talking about Gemini here. Like, if I was doing a reading and this card would come out, it could mean so many different things. It's more of a balance card, a balance between knowledge and what happens when you honor the balance of things, because you have the female energy and the male energy. Every single element can be found in this picture too. You have fire, earth, wind, water. Kind of looks like water back there. It would make sense if water was the only element that wasn't in this card though. It'll slow Gemini down. But what happens when there is balance? You have this otherworldly figure coming out from the clouds here between the male and the female. And that signifies what beauty happens when Gemini basically masters the balance of their life. When they understand that, you know, who I've known myself to be isn't the full knowledge of myself. I have this whole other aspect to my personality. So Geminis may have trouble throughout life bouncing back and forth between opposites almost, like empathy and feeling it for other people, negative and positive, you know, anything that duels each other, like good and bad, light and dark. Gemini has a natural need to want to become both of those things. We all could benefit from a Gemini who realizes the both aspects of their self. So let's see here. Gemini, mental stability. Definitely the sign of mental stability. Geminis are the master communicators. I had mentioned that. And I think that Geminis are the master communicators, not only because they have mental Mercury as their ruler, but also because they have this secret twin. Always, throughout their whole life, Gemini has had this spirit that they could talk to, you know, and even when you're, maybe a lot of Geminis who aren't spiritual grow away from that as they get older, because that's what happens to us as humans. When we're children, our spirituality is the most heightened before we're like brainwashed and ruined by this world. But Gemini has always had this secret twin. It's like picture two twins in the womb just chatting, like, yeah, I know too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, how are you? And that's why they're so good at communicating, because they don't need anybody else to talk to. Like, they can just talk to themselves and be fine with it. You know, they're all that they need pretty much, especially when they take on this balancing approach to it. You know, the female and the male, the fire and the earth, knowledge and spirituality. You know, those are all better when they link together and create the yin and yang. So let's see. Yes, I do need to mention, let's see, otherworldly. Geminis are a portal. That's what I always think about when I see Gemini, because look at this card. How could they not be a portal? Like, they have this otherworldly figure just in the fire and the hair. You see that? With the sun shining down and the beautiful wings, the purple wings. That is what you're capable of, Gemini. When you meet with your other twin, and when you find balance in between hate and love and light and dark and good and evil, when you find that balance and you walk as a symbol of that, this is what's capable of happening to our planet and inside of you, you know. And since you're a portal on the Zodiac wheel, and what do I mean by portal is that Geminis are directly linked to otherworldly realms, like other dimensions. You know, as a Pisces, I have a lot of dreams. I go into these realms and I have a lot of messages that I receive through these dreams. So Gemini is no stranger to that too. Even though they take a more mental approach on and shy away from spirituality sometimes, Gemini still feels the presence, of an otherworldly figure always. And they always feel the presence of their twin. So Mercury calms down the Gemini and makes them take a more mental approach to life. But once you start seeing this as logical and seeing this and who you are as the real mental revealing of who you are, then this is what you could accomplish, Gemini. The light, guidance from above, and your other twin. So I would definitely say that this is true love. Gemini is a symbol of the true love that we all find together on Earth. So when a couple finds each other and they're in love, and if it's real twin flame love, then they're experiencing what a Gemini can experience on a regular basis with their twin. I almost feel like Geminis were born with their twin flame. You know, and there's this idea that humans search for the other half of them their whole life. And for you, Gemini, it's inside of you. I'm not saying that you can't find love, you know, with a human force, but there's also this love that you must establish first in order to feel complete and whole. And you know, it would be really cool if a Gemini and a Gemini were together, because it's like, you're my other twin. I found my other Gemini twin. That would be so awesome. I like Gemini. I love twins. Love them. Like actual real born twins. So to have twins, a set of twins in the Zodiac is just awesome. So let's make sure there's nothing else here. Well, I do want to mention, you know, since we were talking about the lovers and everybody assumes this card is about love, even though it's more so about balance in the love that someone has for themselves. I will mention, though, that Geminis may have trouble finding a partner in this realm on Earth, because to have a secret half of you inside, you know, that makes you feel whole anyway, it's almost like if you don't find that, then no one else is going to be able to fulfill it either, because you like have this secret twin that could make you feel more whole than anyone ever could dream of. And you are ruled by Mercury, so you probably think about this a lot, even if you don't realize it. So Geminis may have trouble finding a partner that feels right for them, that feels balanced, but just know that you're closer to doing that, Gemini, if you realize what lies inside you. There's some part of you that, you know, may be exactly like you, like identical twins, or it may be fraternal, where you need to find something that is completely the opposite of you. But it's all in there, Gemini. Look at your beautiful card, the Lover's card. That's a very powerful dual card. Definitely balance between female and male. And you know what? This card, the main message of this card is what happens when you meet with the knowledge that you have, maybe the danger that that knowledge could bring you, the ego, male, female energies. The result is this, the sun. That's what I just read there. I can't forget to mention that, is that this is almost a result card. It's to show you how beautiful it can be when you find the balance of opposite energies. That's what a Gemini goes through every single day. So I just want to say, I see you, Gemini. I understand and I feel you as a Pisces, the dualness that you feel, the back and forthness. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I lonely? Do I want to be alone, or am I lonely? Every opposite in the world. I feel you, Gemini, and I just want you to know that inside you is balance, and that you can bring the whole entire world balance if you would just open yourself up and find and discover the other half of your soul. It's somewhere, Gemini. Definitely there. Astrology says so. Tarot says so. So this is the Gemini card, the third house of communication. And I also want to add that we all could benefit from communicating like a Gemini. Definitely the influence of Mercury there. But if we all, you know, I see it as speaking to your twin kindly. So with the third house of communication, we could just learn from Gemini's very mental approach. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Gemini. Okay, so next up we have Cancer, the Chariot. This is one of I like this card a lot. It definitely resembles the High Priestess card. It's very, basically the male of the High Priestess. And the High Priestess card is, I have it right here. I could show you guys. I love it. Love, love, love. This is one of my favorite cards. You see the woman there. It's kind of hard for you to see, but you see the woman. And so you definitely see the similarities. Both figures, and I'll explain more. But here is the fourth house Cancer tarot card. So this card is also an authority card. It's definitely an empowerment card. But the Chariot is a little different than all the other rulers in the Zodiac tarot. The Chariot is more about controlling things without necessarily having physical attainment on them. It's definitely about balancing the light and the dark that you have inside you. So the Chariot, this is the original tarot deck, but there's lots of different cards, but the Chariot is always symbolized by some type of authority figure who resides over a dark, sometimes these are horses. I've seen a different Chariot card with a white horse and a black horse, but these are more Egyptian-like figures, which is even more beautiful. So this is for Cancer. Cancer is the cardinal water sign. So this is definitely more about controlling the dark and light aspects to who you are. And if you take a closer look, this man, I mean, these are very well-tamed animals. So he is well-trained and well-tamed, the light and the dark within him. And he does not need a chain for them. He just controls them with his mind, you know? And that's real control. That's real power, to not have to have something chained up by you, but to still have the respect and the authority that you do have over those things. He doesn't question it, because he doesn't even need, you know, any type of chain or leash on these things. They just honor him because he has that great of a relationship with the dark and light in all things that make him feel light or dark. So you have Cancer, the water sign. They're the cardinal water sign. And water in astrology, water spiritually, it means emotions. It's a very spiritual element that's a reflection of our emotions. So Cancer, I have mad respect for Cancer. They are the cardinal water sign of, you know, my element. And I've noticed that people say Cancers are really emotional and things like that, but I feel for Cancer because they've made a promise to the universe to be this authority figure, you know. And they also are the cardinal sign, which means that they're all about action. And as a mutable water sign, I can say that I don't even see how any action has anything to do with emotion. But that's where Cancer comes in and says, hey, yeah, I know you're feeling everything that you feel, but what are we gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to get these mugs. Some people have these all over the place. They're just growling and biting people and lashing out at people, and they're not standing by their owner. But Cancer has trained the dark and light inside of him to just wait there. It's almost like if he feels dark, he'll tell that to what to do. He'll tell this guy, okay, well, be dark. Or if he's feeling light, he'll call upon this side of him. But it's much better to have it going on that way than there just be utter chaos like sometimes a Pisces is. Because my emotions definitely get the best of me. But that's where Cancer comes in with their authority approach, an action approach to emotions instead of wallowing. And I know people think that about Cancer, but I think it's just of how they're compelled to handle it. They have to handle it, you know. Anytime you see a figure like this that's protected, you know, even though he's fine, you know, he's so strong, and any man that can tame two beasts like this doesn't really need any protection. But you know, Cancer is the crab in astrology, so they do protect themselves in a certain way because they're just too smart not to. It's not that he's doubting himself or herself, because he's got everything that he needs, but he's still ready for battle, you know. He's still ready. And it's almost like this thing can get up and move too. I think these are wheels, I would say, or maybe posts in the ground. But I've seen the Chariot card in a different way before, where this man is still there but has a chariot, like a chariot that can move away. So he's sitting still. Emotions make you do that sometimes, but Cancer balances it more than anybody. Like, I understand completely why Cancer is the cardinal sign for emotion, because who else could handle it like this? Like, I can tell that guy, that Cancer, feels a lot right now, but it's okay to just stand still for a while and still prep for battle, and he's thinking about a lot too. So this is definitely an achievement card. It's this guy stands for everything that he's achieved in life through his emotions and through the things that he controls in his mind alone. So, and this also, like I said, with the Chariot being a movable thing, this reflects your course of action. So this card is telling you, you know, when I'm doing a regular tarot reading and this card comes up for someone, it's about a decision that they have to make, either through light or through dark, or a decision that you're going to make that will ultimately lead you to light or dark. That's why this Chariot, this Cancer figure, is very, very, he puts a lot of importance on sitting still for a minute and figuring out what he wants to do. Not because someone told him to. You see, he left town. Town is far behind. He came away to his own place so that he could think, and so that he could reflect on dark and light in his own life. So when you get this card, it goes to show you that you should be like that. You should be like Cancer and think about the different paths in life, because this is a course of action card. So when this card comes up, boy, do I know someone has to make a decision soon. A very important decision. So we talked about the two figures. You know, that's the most important thing about this card, is the figure. No matter what deck you have, you're going to have the Chariot with a dark and a light figure. So, and we talked about how the Chariot reigns these two figures, but without any attachment to them. He does it through his mind, and that's a very metaphor for how we can, because hardly ever do we see light and dark in a physical way, but the Cancer and the Chariot knows how to incorporate it in such a way. Maybe because they're a cardinal sign, that they actually see their emotions as physical things, and they handle them like things that they can mount and rein in, because they're in control. Cancer has more control over their emotions than Scorpio or Pisces. And this is why. So I did want to mention that Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it's no mistake that this man incorporates that here. He has the two, crescent moons, and then I don't know if you can see, but yeah, I think you can see the curtain around his chariot is actually covered in the stars. And I feel like sometimes this man pulls the string here and closes it so that he can do his own work and not be observed, not even pay attention to his light and dark for a minute. But right now he's got the shades drawn, and so he follows the stars. Cancers are definitely in the stars. They are ruled by the moon. I love the moon. Like I said, everybody has a planet that rules them. And Cancer is ruled by the moon. And the moon rules our emotions, our mood. So for them to be a water sign, this is just such encouragement for the Cancer. And it definitely reflects the power that they have and the control that they have over their emotions and feelings. And I think the moon helps Cancer with that a lot. So you definitely have to control both aspects to yourself, kind of like Gemini. Gemini knows. Gemini understands that they have two sides, but not everybody is easily understanding as that. So the Chariot card and the Cancers are here to tell you that it is very, very, very important to control both aspects to yourself and to life, because they're there whether you control them or not. So if you do decide to control them, your Chariot awaits. So I just wanted to add there, I turned my page and I seen that I had a little bit more notes for Cancer, and I can't believe I didn't mention this, but Cancers are the 4th house of home. So it's also about, balancing your emotions when it comes to your home. But see, with Cancers being the crab, crabs carry their home everywhere with them. At any moment they can retract inside of their home. So the 4th house of astrology is all about home environment and sometimes family and friends. So I just wanted to, before moving on to the next card, incorporate that a bit with the Chariot card also. I'll show you guys again. This man, not only did he leave his real home in the far distance back here, but he's created his own home through this Chariot stand. He wants to feel comfortable where he lives, because that's why Cancers are so protecting over who they are because they want to find home. So it's definitely about your environment, and that basically Cancers, I feel like they can feel at home wherever. And this is what the Chariot is telling you, that once you hone in on your darkness and your light, you can then find a place that is suitable for you. What is a home? Somewhere where you can feel free and feel protected, like his armor. Cancers are always protected. So I definitely wanted to incorporate that a little bit in the Cancer reading, because the whole 4th house is about home environment. And in relation to the Chariot card, you can apply that maybe you will experience light and dark in your home, and that your environment will always have a mixture between light and dark. But if you're a Cancer, you handle that pretty well, don't you? But as for everyone else who may have received the Chariot card in a reading, it's definitely about balancing your light and dark, and always protecting yourself. Even the man in the card was protected. I talked a little bit about how he didn't necessarily need protection, but he's too smart not to have it. He doesn't feel weak, he feels smart. And that's how Cancers feel. Like, if you ever try to make a Cancer feel stupid about something they do, they know and hear why they did it, so they don't really care. You're sleeping on them. So it's definitely about a protected home environment. So I definitely wanted to incorporate that a little bit with emotions and things. 4th house, home. Alright, so now we're ready to move on to Leo, the 5th house of astrology. And I really like this card. It's the card of strength. You see there. Leos are the lion in astrology. Everybody's depicted by you know, an animal or something, except for Libra. But for Leo, they are the lion in astrology. So, Leo, this is a very, very accurate card for Leo because Leo rules the fifth house of family and kids. It's a very playful like energy, which is why all Leos, you know, are the life of the party. Leos have this youthful spirit that everybody loves. They are ruled by the sun, and the sun, when the sun comes out, it almost makes you a child, you know. So it's interesting that Cancer is ruled by the moon, and then the sign directly after Cancer is ruled by the sun. So the light will come out. And for, you know, Leos keep this light inside them always. I've met a few sad Leos, but they're very optimistically pessimistic. Like even their woes in life are shrouded by or maybe overcasted by this sunlight that you see in this card. You know, lions are usually happy when they're not gnawing things apart. But look at this little playful lion. He's loyal, which is another Leo attribute trait. Yes, Leos are very loyal and almost intimidating. But you know, every Leo I know who I say is intimidating, they just don't want to be. They're like, what are you talking about? You know, a lion is basically a misunderstood puppy. So if that tells you anything about Leo's ego, you know, definitely. And look at the beautiful hair. Leos have very pretty hair, so the lion's mane is curled and beautiful. So let's see. This is a perfect card for Leo. They are the lion and they represent strength and courage. Every Leo is courageous and strong at heart. And loyal, like I said, Leo rules the fifth house of family and children because Leo is a very childlike energy. And I don't mean childish, but it's good. You know, there's so much seriousness to astrology. And then you have the playful Leo who's just like, let's just have a party, you know, like let's just honor who we are, you know, let's just start the fire up. I'm passionate, Leo. So yes, okay. And then I wanted to mention that Leo is the divine child in astrology. Not necessarily like Aries, who's the favorite child, but they are both fire signs. Leo is a fire sign as well, lighting the passionate fire between anyone who comes in contact with a Leo. And with them being the divine child, you know, this angel is incorporated here. I mean, she definitely looks angelic. I don't see any wings, but she's a pure figure, you know. She has this infinity symbol above her head, which is a symbol of Leo's everlasting, like it's a never-ending love and light and never-ending passion between a Leo and anything that a specific Leo is passionate about, whether it be music or astrology or sports or cooking. You know, whatever a Leo does, they do it from passion in the heart because the being ruled by the sun compels them to be a magnetic force, you know. So Leos, if you have a bunch of people that just are really, really magnetized to you and you're not really sure why, because for some reason you're insecure, even though you have no reason to be, it's because you are ruled by the sun, and the sun is literally scientifically magnetic. Anything that gets close to the sun is like pulled in and exploded. So that is kind of a metaphor for, you know, Leo energy. Very vibrant, very light, very just, exuding. I don't really know the word. It just, this card definitely looks like what I'm trying to explain. And it's almost like, Leo, you can identify yourself with this lion or this angel. And it's almost like they have an infinite relationship, this lion and this angel. You know, she's pure and she's almost encouraging or what is the word? Praising. She's praising this lion for whatever. It's like he brought back a ball or something. You see his tongue sticking out and he's all happy like, I did a good job. Leos like that. They love to be they love affection, you know. They're ruled by the sun and they're very passionate. So they definitely like a couple of pets here and there, you know. Don't ever forget to tell a Leo how passionate and loved they are, you know. Very important for that lion, you know, to know that. Just because they're the king of the forest and king of the jungle, they don't always want that rep. You know, Leos are more modest. You know, they do struggle a lot with the ego, with all this flamboyant, I want to say, or energy that's real strong and outward putting. You know, Leos do struggle with attracting the wrong people in, or basically their ego. You know, sometimes their ego can get in the way, but that's why it's very important to praise Leo for what they do so that they can feel loved. You know, even the sun, like if I was the sun, I would be so sad because it's just so hot and nobody appreciates it. So maybe that's a little bit how Leo feels, you know, like they just come out faithfully every day, and then the moment it rains, people are just like, hey, you know, what's the big idea? And that's a little tough, you know. So I try to be a little easier on Leos. They're very misunderstood, little lions. So like I said, Leo are the divine child, and it's because they are the 5th house and the sun shines directly on them. So they just have this divineness about them, almost angelic. So I love that this card for Leo has an angelic figure without necessarily wings, because you don't really know right off the bat that Leo is an angelic figure or divine figure, you know. So the wings are kind of secretly hidden by that lioness, what you first see, you know. But underneath, you know, a Leo is very, very divine and very soft, and they don't want to be that scary lion figure. They much more identify with the lady, you know. See her little, the earth growing on her belt, kind of. You see the flowers and the flowers in her hair, you know. That's Leo. So there's a lot of sunshine in this card. So very optimistic energy and very infinite energy, because the sun can be very, very infinite as well. So I love that there's so much bright. You can't really see it because of the actual sun, Leo. But on this card, it's so orange, very beautiful. You want to pay attention to that kind of things in tarot cards, because it's just one small, you know, if this was a darker sky, I would know there was a more weary tarot card with a more weary message. But it makes sense that that would not be for Leo, because even Leo handles weary and sadness with sunlight. They try to, at least. So the sun is really a gigantic star. I wanted to incorporate that because for the longest, you know, I didn't know. I mean, I knew as a kid. I found this out, and it was like, did you know the sun was a star? And it's one of those scientific facts that I found out and just blew my mind. Well, you know, that's how you have to look at yourself, Leo, is that you're ruled by a gigantic star. And I don't really think I need to tell the Leos that, because I think you guys know that you're the life of the party. I think you guys know, but some of you who are more humble and more soft might need this reminder that you are the light, and you are sunny, you are great, and you provide the heat and the passion for all of us. So yes, you are definitely the divine child in there, and you're a big ass star, you know. You are and you know, so interesting that the nodes, the moon nodes, they've been in Pisces and Virgo for like the last 19 months, and I'm going to make another video about that. But the north node is actually going to be headed into Leo on May 10th. So all the Leos everywhere watching this need to do their own research about the north node and what it means, because for 19 months you guys are going to be it. You guys are going to be the direction of north. You're going to be going, you're going to be on top, baby. It's going to be good. So Leos, take a look at your card, because this is how you're going to feel. Alright, so before I move to the next card, I just wanted to explain that Leo is actually, you know, I said Leo rules the 5th house of family and children. So in a way, Leo represents the child in all of us. You know, we live this life and we become ages and we get caught up in numbers and caught up in how we're supposed to act. But there's always a child inside of us. We have that child, like, I know me, I love bubbles and chalk, and I'm just a big old kid anyway. Maybe that's because I have Mars in Leo, so my actions are very kid-like, you know, and that's not to say childish or, you know, it's a purity. Children are honest and they're pure and they're not afraid to be who they are. As kids, we all knew what we wanted to be in life. We all knew, you know, what our hearts meant, and that's what Leo rules, is the hearts. When this north node heads into Leo, we're all going to be compelled to operate from our hearts, and I honestly can't wait. This is a very, very important thing to know in life, to never lose, you know, never lose touch with the inner child in all of us. We're all meant to, like, we're just told to grow up so quick, and we take on all these worries so fast, and it's like the kids in us die. But Leos have a better opportunity than everyone to keep that inner child. Almost like, I remember reading about this card, and they actually described this woman as a young child. She looks like a woman, but she could easily be young, you know. She's not real young, but she's young spirited, you know, which is why there's wreaths and earth growing around her, because she's not going to stop growing, which is also the infinity sign's purpose. So yes, Leo rules the inner child in us all. Never tell a Leo to grow up. Don't ever tell a Leo to grow up. We need them. We need them to stay children. So let's see. Yes, this is an ego card. So yes, I did mention a little bit about Leo struggling with the ego. You know, as a child with a childlike energy. You know, children don't handle the ego well. That's why they're like, "Give me a piece of candy, punk." You know, like that's, you know, I'm not saying Leos are out here demanding candy and calling people punks, but it's kind of a metaphor. So just be careful, Leos, with your ego, because there's evil things, there's evil spirits that try to test Leo. They want as many Leos as possible to just give in to their egos, because when you give into your ego, you're not light. You're not this loyal lion. So just be careful of that, Leo. I think you have a better chance of dealing with that than any other sign, though. So I will say that. And okay, the very last thing I want to say is very powerful. I watch a lot of astrology videos and I watch a lot of, you know, discussion videos about things. And it was so powerful for me to hear this. And I've heard this before. I'm not really religious, I'm not a biblical person, but I do believe in the divine energy and I do believe in a higher power. So I was watching this video and the guy said, you have to be, and he was talking about Leo, so I had to make sure to incorporate this in the video. He said, you have to be childlike to get through the gates of heaven. You have to be like a child, childlike, like a child to get through the gates of heaven. So I know that Leo, well, divine enlightened Leos, if you're a spiritual Leo, you will have no problem with this because you are able to embody that childlike, youthful is the right word, youthful spirit like no other. So that's just something to be aware of, that we can't lose touch in the children that we are, you know. There's just parts of us when we were children that remain true throughout our whole life, and it would make a lot more sense if we didn't try to fight that, you know. So let's be, it wouldn't hurt for us to admire Leo in a way and take the message of the Leo strength card. It does take strength. Interesting that I say that. It takes strength to be who you are. It takes strength to be the sun, and it takes strength to always be happy and optimistic. But if Leo can do it, anyone can. Hey Virgo. So this is the sixth card. And this is the card we have for Virgo, the Hermit. Now, 6 is a very angelic number, even in astrology. So to see the number 6, you know, reoccurring in your life is very angelic. And there's no mistake that Virgo would be the 6th sign. So when I see this card, it literally gives me an angelic vibe. So to all the Virgos out there watching right now, if you don't know it yet, you are an angel. And this is for Virgo moons, Virgo risings, but definitely Virgo sun sign. So you have this otherworldly figure, you know, he's very peculiar, and the Hermit is actually a crab. So it almost is a message about Virgos, because Virgos, you know, they definitely move in more silent way. You know, I wouldn't say move in the shadows, but they move in a almost secretive way, like the hermit crab. They definitely protect themselves, and they need to. They protect themselves for a damn good reason. So this looks like a man, you know. He looks like a regular man to somebody, but under that cloak, there's the most gigantic pair of wings ever. And you know, he has this, everything's hidden about him. So if you were to stand behind this figure, you know, you would just see this, you know, imagine what you would see. Imagine what you would see if you was standing somewhere back here behind the guy. You know, you don't see anything exposed, almost like a nun, you know, very pure vibe. And he's a hidden teacher. So yes, Virgo, you are a hidden teacher to this universe. A Virgo could definitely teach you a lot about life, with them being the angel. I mean, literally. You look up a Pisces and they're a fish. You look up, you know, Libra and they're the scales. Virgos are the angel of the Zodiac. And this card is definitely depicts that. You know, this man, I didn't always know it about the Hermit card, but he's up above in the sky, looking down, observing. And that's a very Virgo-like energy, because Virgos are very analytical. people, you know, they're very analyzed. They quickly analyze a situation almost angelically to have a further understanding of it. And Virgos are ruled by Mercury as well as Gemini, so they are a very mental sign. But Virgo, you know, with them being the opposite of Pisces, they have this hidden Neptunian spiritual vibe to them, but it has to be hidden, you know, and there's a very good reason for that. But every Virgo, you know, they have more about them. And I know that because I'm a Pisces and Virgo is my opposite sign. So I have this interest for Virgo. I have this, you know, need for Virgo almost. And they definitely, like I said, the hidden teacher. This man, it's like, I feel like nobody really talks to him a lot. He's just the old man. Oh, that's just the old man that walks around town. But it's like a book. I just feel this right now that this man is around. And, you know, someone's like, hey, who's that? And they're like, oh, that's just old man Jenkins. Like, he just comes out sometimes with this weird lantern. Don't mind him. But only the purest and the truest of the true know that there's something up. There's something else about this man. He's not just the weird creep that comes out, you know, at night. He's someone who has the answer. Like, he's protecting everything. And, you know, Virgo doesn't mind to look like the creep to people. I mean, I'm sure you guys do. But what I mean by that is that you don't mind the interpretation people take of you because you know that you promised the universe to be who you are inside no matter what. It's also dangerous to just reveal what you are to just anybody. But astrology readers, tarot readers, you know, hate to break it to you, but we know. I definitely know about Virgo. So let's see what else we have about Virgo. I wrote that he is a teacher in a humble disguise. That's definitely a better way to put it. I'm a better writer than I am speaker, especially when I talk about Virgo. Definitely, I feel analyzed. But yes, he's a teacher in a humble disguise, a wise old man or woman, because this is all Virgo angels. And Virgos are the angel of the Zodiac because they're the sixth sign. We already went over that. The man appears to be in the clouds, and he has a cloak that hides his beautiful wings. Because Virgos are so humble. Like, Virgos are definitely like angels. Like, angels don't necessarily reveal that they're angels to you because they're there to help you humbly. They don't really need credit for what they do, and that is such Virgo. I just feel it in my heart right now. That Virgos are the helper of the Zodiac. They're the givers, the healers. And they do it just because they have a divine order too. You know, much like angels, you definitely have to look at Virgos as angels, you know, whatever you see in your mind, especially the Virgos watching this. You know, if you've ever felt different inside and felt just like you had this calling to be pure, because that's another thing with angels is that they're expected to be pure and of light, you know, and that's probably why this man hides himself, because if you're not careful and you're more like Leo, who's more exciting and more open about things, you know, they don't have the same threat that applies to Virgo. Angels can't just reveal themselves to anybody at any time because it's more of a heavenly act. So just like the hermit crab, Virgo doesn't just come out for anybody or anything. Like, they pay attention, and there's a reason why Virgo analyzes so much, because they need to make sure that there's nothing behind that and behind that and behind that and behind that. Okay, we're good. Is there anything behind that and behind that? Ooh, you're hiding something. I'm moving. You know, it's kind of like that, but they do it quicker. It's they're in their mental Mercury mind that they just analyze things quickly and they can just see it coming from a mile away. People think Virgos are crazy. People think Virgos are too critical because of this, but if you were an angel, you'd be this critical too. I mean, taking a closer look at this card, this figure, you know, he's very, very, I just want to hug him. I do like to hug Virgos. They're just beautiful. Like, he has this staff and he's so humble. He's not wearing designer clothes. He's not like, ooh, check me out, I'm the goddess of light. Like, ooh, I'm this. No, he's a reflection of that. And even his light, even his, you know, this part I didn't always know, but this is a symbol for intuition. And an angel's intuition has to be protected and encaptured so that it's almost like your grace, Virgo. This is your grace. And you're letting it light your way. And he's looking down. I really hope you guys can see this. He's looking down, and who knows what he sees. This Virgo sees it all. Virgos do see it all. And he's just humbly analyzing, angelically, you know, practically looking at things. And it's so tough for Virgo because, I mean, try being an angel who's compelled to be practical in life. Like, you're an angel and every Virgo secretly knows it. Every Virgo secretly knows it. even though that there's this mutable, and there's a reason why Virgo is mutable. It's so because angels can be anything that they want to be. And some people call Virgos fake, or it does seem like a fake vibe because it's so powerful. Virgos are so powerful. So if this man or this Virgo were to come around you, you would know. You'd be like, oh my God, what are you? And see, the problem with Virgos is that, oh my God, what are you vibe? They try to pin you based off of their own understanding. So be careful, Virgo, when you're dealing with people who aren't spiritually enlightened, because for people can only undress you. People can only peg you and define you, and nobody should be anyways. They can't, Virgo, but they're gonna. You have this energy that makes people want to analyze like you do. It makes people want to know like you do. It's desirable when you come around. Like when an angel comes around, they come as what they want to show you. They come as what you need most in your life, but in a good way. So when a Virgo comes around you, they might analyze you. And some human angels, like some of the Virgos that aren't spiritually enlightened, may come off like analytical, like hard ups, like stuck up. But that is not the case when you get to know the soft, humble soul of a Virgo. Like if only more people could see you, and if only you could walk more like this Virgo, because you have the staff. You're very, very, very shepherd like. You could lead armies. You could change the world. But I do understand as a Pisces that you have to be slow moving about that hermit crab. You have to be hidden about that hermit crab. It's not to say that Virgos are fake or that they hide anything, but this is a necessarily heavenly agreement that Virgos have. So if you're a Virgo and you feel like you keep a lot of secrets and you feel like you're alone and that no one knows what you know, I know how it feels as a Pisces. I kind of feel that way. But there's a reason for it, and it's because your spirits are telling you that it's dangerous to let certain people know certain things about you. Virgos are just born with that kind of intuition, and that's a good word for this, because this card, and I've had a Virgo tell me herself that this card is definitely an intuitive card. If this card comes up when you're just doing a natural reading, I definitely feel angel vibes from this card and higher guidance. This man is around looking down at you with love and light in his heart, and he's there to protect you like the Virgo angel he is. So when this card comes up in a reading, it's definitely telling the person to follow their intuition, follow the light in their heart. And it's also an isolation card. This man is alone. You know what I mean? He's alone. He's in a different realm almost. So he's alone. He ain't just in the back of a crowd like chilling. He's in a different galaxy, a different fucking dimension, and he's okay with that because he does his work better. So I just want to say to all the Virgos out there, don't feel bad for isolating yourself, because this is what happens when you isolate yourself. You are able to take your light and look upon you. I mean, every Virgo feels this. I don't want to call it a burden. Even my Pisces self doesn't want to call it a burden. You have this responsibility, this spiritual, protecting, providing responsibility, where you feel like no matter if it's your family or your partner or your siblings or your boss or maybe your job, especially Virgos, you guys are the 6th house of work that we do in the world. So you guys are a very grounded earth vibe. So you do want to be very earthy and grounded with your decisions, and you have this heavy responsibility you've always been able to sense, because you are, you guys do God's work. You do the universe's work on a daily reg, like protecting people and saving people from darkness and all the things that you guys do under this cloak that isn't necessarily acknowledged. And I know how lonely that must feel, but as long as you take this time to not feel lonely, but to feel isolated with your own power, you can definitely hone in on your own light and intuitive spirits, and you could be able to do what your heart feels like you have to do. Some Virgos feel like they're supposed to save the world and they're supposed to save this person, and I can fix this. You can, Virgo, but you can't do it without honoring your own self first. And you guys are so humble, and you're so Mercury ruled that you mentally analyze what you're feeling. But let a Pisces tell you that this is spiritual. Mercury can only take you so far in life, Virgo. And you have to learn how to embrace your wings without showing them. And you have to learn how to fly without showing your wings also. Not an easy job to do. But I feel like embodying the hermit and sheltering yourself a little bit more, and not beating yourself up for staying inside more and not wanting to go to this party, because everyone loves a Virgo they like to have you around because you're an angel, and they can feel it. Even if they're not spiritual, there's a reason why people like the Virgo energy around. Even me, I love Virgo energy. I feel protected by Virgo energy. I feel like heaven is so close by when a Virgo is by. So, it can be kind of difficult for you not to say yes to everything. And yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can fix it. I'll be over it. Man, now I have to fix 2 things, but I can do it. I can do it. Mentally, go, 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 Virgo. Like, if you get caught up in that, you will not have time to do this. And that's something I deal with as a Pisces too. But this Virgo knows his job. He doesn't care that he's misunderstood. He just goes into the clouds. He owns the fact that he's an angel, and he just does it, He just does it. So let's see what else I wrote about Virgo. They do reside from far above like angels. Just such an angel energy, Virgo. I feel so analyzed. I don't know if I'm doing this justice, but I love you guys. Okay, good part here. This is a very silent card. When I look at this card, I almost feel like I need to be quiet and not say anything because he's thinking and I don't want to interrupt him, right? Well, that energy can be explained with the way that Virgo has to communicate. If you're a Virgo and you feel like your throat chakra is just karate chopped by somebody and that you can't ever say what you're thinking, like Virgos have no problem thinking. If you could think out loud, then it would be great. But sometimes those thoughts get caught inside, especially because you're such an isolated sign. You're just so used to just dealing with everything alone. But this is to show you that Virgos communicate without words. This man is so quiet. I feel like he'll never talk to you. Like if you call upon him, he'll come, but he won't say anything. You have to silence yourself in order to hear what he's saying. Because, when you speak from the intuition, it's different than speaking through the actual voice. So Virgos do communicate in an otherworldly way. So if you're with a Virgo or have a friend as a Virgo or your mom or dad as a Virgo, just know that when they communicate with you, they're not really used to communicating like that. They're angels, okay? Angels aren't from here, so they're not used to just having a conversation with someone. They're used to being alone and residing from up above alone. So Virgos incarnated in this planet too. Virgos are on the Zodiac wheel as well. So just give them patience and a little bit of a break, because it's very, very hard for them to get their words out across as they meant. They're very powerful people as well. And when they talk, they don't really realize the power that they have in their words. So don't make them pay for that. They're just this person trying the hardest that they can. And we need Virgos. So this card does encourage isolation and communicating in a different way from your heart and from the light that you have up here. This is also a message to, be yourself, meditate. Virgo, are you meditating? Are you spending time with yourself? Are you letting people take your light? This is definitely a be your own light kind of card. This Virgo, I feel like he doesn't let that light out of that thing. It's connected to him and it's sheltered. It's in this glass container acting as a lantern, but it's a star. It's not just light, it's a star. It's him. He has his higher self, almost like the Chariot card, just, at bay. So this is definitely a meditation and an isolation when it comes to your intuition card, because that's what angels do. Angels encaptivate their light and they hold it near so that they can call on it at any time. Definitely you, Virgo. So be your own light like Virgos and angels are, and this is a reflection card to see the bigger picture. Okay, this man cannot be small-minded. So Virgo, try your best. Small-mindedness is a personal demon of yours. Small-minded people are personal demons of yours. Angels cannot be small-minded. They know the know. They know the all-knowing. They know how this world works, and it's extremely interrupting and belittling to let people shut your mind down like that. So it definitely teaches you, and definitely teaches the Virgos, to take a higher standing. This guy has rose up. The world's down here. This is the world and the earth, and this man is up above in the clouds, way above in a different dimension, looking down at everything there is to look down on, like a godly, otherworldly figure. So when it comes to situations, it's okay to do this as a message to everyone. You can learn from the Virgo and the Hermit card to take some time for yourself and meditate and look down at everything. Sometimes I know I just feel like I have to leave it all behind, And I know, Virgo, that you have a lot of responsibilities and you're just so always working that it can be hard to do this. So my advice to you is to just take a walk, take a walk that's for you. No matter what you have to do, if your dad wants you to do this and your boyfriend and your girlfriend wants you to do this, be like, nope, I'll do it in a little bit. I got to take me a walk and I'll be right back. And I promise you, you will feel better. You will feel more in touch with this side of you when you do things like that. Even if it's as little as just sitting by a tree, going to a park, having a picnic. I know Virgos are very fun and adventurous, and they always want to do fun things, but they're also very serious. So just try to incorporate both parts of your life and don't neglect yourself. Especially look at this humble figure. I don't want him to neglect himself at all. He's too beautiful for that. He's too special. So yes, we do have to see the bigger picture when we're embodying this. Let's see. Virgos are mental, analytical, practical, realistic, but they're angels at the same time. That just sounds like a big job to me. Like, okay, so you want me to be mental, God? Okay, I'll be mental. You want me to be practical and logical? Okay, but I'm an angel? Okay. It's kind of an oxymoron. And just understand that Virgo has that confliction in their hearts. But I'm here to tell you, Virgo, that it's okay to slow down. Just like this hermit crab, I think Spirit was trying to tell Virgo that it's okay. It's okay to be the what you are in your heart and be slower moving, and to just slow. Okay, and of course, while I'm doing the Virgo video, we had some interference and my laptop died, even though it was plugged in. Definitely some spiritual interference there, but I was able to get the whole video recorded, and it cut off right towards the end. I definitely just wanted to explain why that happened. I didn't just say deuces, I'm done explaining this, but yeah, I just wanted to finish a little bit of what I was saying. I reached the end though. So yeah, Virgos, it's okay to slow down. It's okay. There are people who understand you. So I just wanted to, explain the rest of that before I was rudely interrupted by whatever. Leave my Virgos alone. I don't like when things are after you guys. But okay, let's move on to Libra. Okay, now we can move on to the 7th house and sign of astrology, which is Libra. And I have to say that this is the, most obvious zodiac sign, because Libra is the scales of justice when it comes to, the zodiac wheel. So, of course, if there's a justice card in the tarot, it has to belong to Libra. Libra is just so balanced, and they're about protecting the greater good of things, So you see this man, and he's also authority figure. You see this Libra, you guys, Libras, you are an authority figure as well. You see this man, sitting behind this purple veil, and you kind of can't see it because of the light, but right here, he's holding, let's see if I can get you to see it. He's holding a scale of justice. You really can't see it much, but I promise you that's a scale. And then in the other hand, he holds this sword, so that anything that isn't balanced and anything that isn't fair and just, he can cut. There's a whole bunch of sword cards when it comes to astrology. You have the 3 of Swords and the 4 of Swords, the Page of Swords, all that, and it means decision making. So of course Libra would have to hold tight and hold strong to his or her decision making. You see the crown on this Libra's head. This actually looks like a Libra friend of mine. Pretty weird. Just makes it real. But yeah, he's holding this sword and he's holding this justice, and he's just serious faced. This is another cardinal sign. Definitely about action. And justice, come on now. I wouldn't want any mutable or any fixed sign to be in control of justice, because we just need action to be taking place when it comes to this. So we have the Libra, and he's dressed in this red cloak. Libra is also ruled by Venus, and for the longest time I only thought Libra was ruled by Venus. I would tell my best friend, oh, you're ruled by Venus, Venus, Venus. And no, it was brought to my attention that even Taurus is ruled by Venus as well. So it's all about love, and love it should be justified or fair. It's about 2 different people coming together and creating justice and fairness. Relationship is a compromise. So this is also, I feel my spirit guides tell me it's not really about compromise, because I don't really think Libra knows compromise, and I feel bad for that. As a Pisces, let me tell you, I could not be this figure. I am such a fence rider. I just know that all are one and that there's a reason for everything, and don't be so hard on people. Well, I'm here to thank Libra for sitting here and taking both sides of the story into effect and making sure that everybody is fair and justice. Good job, Libras. You guys know how to do it. And we always need that. You know, we had to have some type of balance go on in our zodiac wheel. So let's see. So, protecting the greater good, Libra. Libra protects the greater good of any situation. If you know a Libra, they're going to try to diffuse the situation. Like, not by telling this person and this person that they're wrong, but by taking a standing, like this man. They take a stand in the situation. They hold that balance beam in their hand, and then if you're not careful, they'll cut your ass up if you're not being balanced about things. But, you know, Libra takes that stand of justice, that position of, hey, now, guys, I know you didn't like that, but would you like it if it was done to you? Or can't you understand why that person did that? Or you did this to make that person do that now, and that's not justified either. So this is almost like a judge, and it's hard because Libra is the judge and the jury. So try being that when there's so much pressure on you from the universe for everything to be fair and everything to be just and everything to be balanced, you know. I hear you, Libra. So definitely protecting the greater good. The sword represents the ability to make precise judgments. So he has that in the opposite hand of the scale. So whatever, you know, here's a situation, you know, a relationship or a friendship or a work situation or any dispute where this balance has to be equal. This scale can't be down here and this one up here. That's not fair. It has to be equal and justified. And if it's not, Libra has this sword in the other hand to make sure that he can make or she can make the right adjustments and cuts where they need to be. So yeah, the sword represents the ability to make precise judgments opposite of the scale. And this is a card of truth. It's also about cause and effect. Sometimes if you're not balanced, you'll get cut. Sometimes if you cut people, you're not balanced. Welcome to a Libra's life. Libra, even if they're not really justified people, or, you know, I'm not trying to say that every Libra is just justified and just balanced, but they do have a calling from the universe to be justified. Like if a Libra does something that's unjust, they can't sleep at night. They're like, oh my God, I did that one thing and it was just bad. Even if it's just small, like they found $1 or saw a lady drop $1 out of their purse and the lady didn't care. She's a millionaire. Libra feels like, oh my God, I need to give this lady her dollar back. It's not right. It's not right. So it will be hard. It is hard, you know, for every day. It's almost like Libra doesn't have, you know, I always thought that in my earlier stages of astrology, I would see Libra as the justice scale. But you know what? I'm going to let you guys in on a secret about Libras is that they don't actually feel balanced themselves. You know, they're so busy balancing this situation. They take, just like a Pisces, and Libra and Pisces are very similar. They could balance each of our fish. I have 1 fish and 2 fish, and the Libra can balance that out for me. I love Libras. Well, they take on, just like Pisces does, in a different way than Pisces does, though. Because I'm like, oh, you're hurting because of that? Okay, let's talk for hours and do all your favorite things, and I'll hug you and hold you, and everything's going to be fine in the universe. Libras literally feel like they are responsible for balancing. The Libras can, like no one else in the zodiac, they just feel where things are off balance. So it's hard to be a Libra because where other people can stay in situations that aren't balanced, because let's face it, life is just not really that balanced for us. But we have the Libras, you know, if you know a Libra, just know that in different realms, they are this man and they are her. And you know, you can't really, it's another thing about a tarot deck is that all these figures are equally-ish manish, womanish. They have an equal balance of male and female. Like it could be a woman, it could be a man with long hair. But anyways, it's just Libra. So if you have a Libra friend, just know that in different realms, they're busy doing this. They want things to be balanced for you. They don't want to create disruption for you. They want everything to be justified, you know, and justice. So thank you, Libras. Now let's see. This is the truth card, like I mentioned, cause and effect, understanding both sides of a story so that it can be fair. It is also appreciating your opposites, like the yin and yang aspects, because you have the cause and the effect and the balance and the not balanced. You know, Libra is a very cause and effect sign. So if you do something to a Libra, oh boy, it is coming back to you, because justice is on their side, and they have Venus as a ruling planet, so it'll be done in the name of love. So Libra can cut you in the name of love. Like, they can cut you in the name of balance. So just be careful. So let's see. Yeah, I actually wrote the notes that, is this a man or a woman? I put a question mark because he has a blank expression and he doesn't look. Oh, I put that he is not looking directly at you. I don't know if you can tell, but he's just looking off into the distance, you know? So it is trying to say that as far as the male or female on this card, you know, that's also balanced, you know? It's all of us have male and female energy in us. And I think Libra, more like anyone else, can balance the two of those. So that is a very good thing. And in order to do that, it makes it better for you to take this position in life. You know, this man, if he was too busy worrying about if he was a female or a male, he would lose track of that balance beam. You know, it wouldn't really be balanced. So Libras are also, you know, for the most part, I'd say that they handle masculine and feminine energies very well, because they understand. They're the balance beam, so they know, oh yeah, this old chestnut, like male and female energies. So they are ruled by Venus in their love and relationships, so that's why he's in red, because he does everything in the name of love and passion. They are an air sign, though, and air signs can be very quick moving, especially a Libra cardinal air sign. You know, so just be careful, Libra, and always think about what you do. Not that you even can, because you have this blatant ass balance beam letting you know if anything's off balance, and then you need to change it, Libra. Cut it. So yeah, just be careful. Don't be afraid to be as calm as this man is here. He's in deep ass thought, and he's thinking, should I do this? Should I cut this? Is that person being nice? Is this person being fair? So just think about it, Libra. And because you are a very powerful sign, and before you know it, you might cut something out of your life, and now you're not balanced. And that's another thing about Libras, is that it's very important for Libras to experience balance in life, because you represent balance, and it's just most important for you to be able to experience what you naturally give out in life. Like me, you know, I'm a very spiritual sign, so it would be like me trying to do all these videos but not having actual spirituality in my heart. So just be careful, Libra, to not cut your own self and to mess up your own balance beam. And I definitely wanted to mention this, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but Lil Wayne's a Libra, Eminem's a Libra, you know, Libras. Well, Libra is the only zodiac sign out of the whole 12 that doesn't have a soul. Now, don't freak out, Libra. I don't know if you guys feel that you don't have souls, or if you're like, what do you mean I don't have a soul? Oh my god, that's not balanced. Well, don't freak out, because we needed this in the zodiac wheel. Like I told you in the beginning of this video, the whole zodiac wheel signifies karma. And if you're not living in justice, you know, you're not living with a soul. So Libra had to kind of take that on. They had to take that position on, and you are the balance scale. So everyone else, you know, Scorpio is the scorpion, Pisces is the fish, Virgo is the angel. Libra is the balance scale, and they're the only sign that is represented by something that doesn't have a beating heart. Like everybody else's spiritual animal symbol has a beating heart, but Libra, they are compelled to the balance beam. So, you know, be easy on Libras. And, you know, also another thing about Libras is they are the archangels. If you don't know it, Libra, you are a fallen angel, and you're the archangel of justice. So, you know, everybody says Virgos are angels in the zodiac, but you also have the sign right, like what comes after angels? Fallen angels. And then it makes sense, because what comes after fallen angels? Scorpio, and we will talk about that. But everybody has their duties and responsibilities in the zodiac wheel, in the karma wheel. And Libra, you come in, you know, it's kind of good that you guys don't have souls. And I'm not, as a human, I'm not going to get that far into this video, because of course humans have souls, but maybe some Libra should hit me up and we should talk about this, because I'd love to get a discussion about that. But astronomically, tarot-wise, you guys do not have souls. And the reason for that is because you're ruled by Venus, and if you're ruled by Venus and you're supposed to be like the head sergeant of justice, it would just mess you guys up. It's better to do the work that, like, this man looks blank. It's because he doesn't have a soul. He doesn't need a soul. Like, he's a balance beam, and he is what he is. And a soul would just throw him off. A soul would make him lean towards not justice. You know, I have a soul. My soul makes me feel compassion towards certain things that I shouldn't. So it's just good that Libra is able to take that soulless position. Like, my feelings aren't involved. This is not fair. You know, I wouldn't want to judge to have feelings towards, you know, a case where someone was really hurt or someone robbed me. I wouldn't want my political figure and my figure of justice to be like, oh, well, he robbed you for a good enough reason. You know, we're not going to send him to jail. No, I want someone heartless to a certain extent, someone who is soulless and who can just get the job done. And that is our fellow Libras. So thank a Libra today for their position in the justice system. Libra, you are the judge and jury. We thank you for your work. Nobody could do it besides you, Libra. But don't, make sure that in the middle of all that, you're not the one falling short of balance and justice, because in order for us to have it, we definitely want, well, I definitely want you to have it too, Libra. You deserve it more than anyone else because you're who creates it. So just make sure you're balanced and that you're honoring your own self, because you're very important, Libra. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the 8th house of Scorpio. Now, don't be alarmed, Scorpio, and it's so weird because as soon as I recorded this video, there was actual Scorpio that arrived, so synchronicities. But don't be scared, Scorpio. You guys have the card of death. And this is the 8th house, ruling the house of intimacy and hidden beliefs, you know, more of a darker house because we are in the wheel of astrology here. So, you know, anything in our universe can be calculated into this zodiac wheel. So we have the angels, we have all the aspects, even twins. So we're going to have the dark in there as well. It's a mixture between dark and light. So I'm going to do my absolute best to explain this in a way that isn't scary or concerning, because, I mean, you guys are Scorpios. What are you guys afraid of anyway? But this card, you know, it is one of the scariest cards that can come up in a reading. You know, when people see this, it's almost like how Scorpio is, just really intense, and it seems like this is all that it is. But there's a lot going on in this card that we're going to explain. It's just not death like we know it. Like I said earlier, when you're interpreting spiritual into our physical world, you have to be careful because spirit speaks in a very different tongue than us. So this card very rarely actually means death. It's actually more of a new beginning card. I've gotten this card before when things in my life were coming to an end. And when things come to an end, you know, you have new beginnings. So I would definitely say that this is a card of transformation. Death gets a lot of bad rep when it comes to, you know, look at this knight. And they call the Scorpio the Dark Knight because, you know, it is the 8th house of the more darker things in astrology, and that's why I feel for Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign, so it does still have much to do with emotions, and you can see the water in this card here behind. So let's explain this card a little bit. So it seems like there's been a death. Can't really see because the sun, but there's this man. He was a king and his crown fell off, and there's this little baby over here like, oh my god. And this lady, there's a couple people here just really sad. Like, death does cause a lot of sorrow in this world, but it's just going to show you that nobody, even a king with a beautiful crown, you know, even he has to fall short to death. And death tries to come, you know, on this pure horse of white to kind of soften up the energy. He's a skeleton, you know, he's dead. This is death. This is almost like the Grim Reaper, you know. He comes, and he comes in a way of purity. He even has this black flag with this beautiful white flower showing you, you know, I mean, how comforting can a skeleton really be? And that's, you know, I want the Scorpios to really listen to this because this is a very, very reflection of your guys' energy. People are very intimidated and afraid of Scorpio's sexual, intimate energy. But if you were just to look a little bit closer and a little bit more into what Scorpio actually stands for, you wouldn't be as frightened, but more inviting. Because if we didn't have someone as brave as this knight to be all that the darkness is, you know, and still use it for light. I mean, who would do this? Who would do this in the zodiac wheel besides Scorpio? So I do want to thank you for the work that you do, Scorpio, and the rap that you take for being this dark, satanic figure, when really we should be looking at some of the other zodiac signs. It's hardly ever Scorpio. So this card rarely ever means actual death as we know it. It's more of a ending. You know, this card can come up when your job is going to come to an end or when your relationships are going to come to an end. This is definitely a symbolization for release and rebirth, because after this man shows up, these people can, I mean, when the worst of the worst has happened to you, there's new chances to rise above, you know. And so this is what the Scorpio does, and I've actually know a few Scorpios, and they have brought this type of energy into my life. They, you know, after being with a Scorpio or being friends with a Scorpio, they kill something in you and start something new. You know, I have a lot of Scorpios in my life, and I would say that their energies are very similar to that, very misunderstood at the same time. Like, you have to be open-minded when you're talking about the eighth house like this, because it can be so easily, especially the death card, can be so easily misinterpreted. So it definitely represents, you know, rebirth and release. What happens after death? That's what you want to think about when you think about this card. More so not death itself, because death happens in an instant and it's over. But no one ever talks about what happens after death, which is the rebirth. You know, there's just so much more to this. And, you know, you can talk to a Scorpio and they'll say, oh, you know, after we die, we're just dead. You know, we just rot in our coffins. I know a few Scorpios that say that, but I know deep down it's because they're death. And they have to explain it in a way that is just straight to the point. It's almost like they're the Grim Reaper and they're waiting for you to come. You know, you always have the, oh, but why did I die? You know, the Grim Reaper has a really hard job. That's why he comes on this white horse to symbolize. I mean, he does have a red eye. The horse has a red eye and really creepy vibes, but look, there's sun in the background just sneaking up. So that's just, if you can get past the skeleton and all the scary and sad vibes, you'll see that there's a very beautiful new beginning on the way. But you're gonna have to look past all that, you know, more intensity and more scariness of the Scorpio. So it definitely symbolizes release, and the death card is about transformation. So what is this man transforming to? And then after someone dies in your life, you do go through your own transformation. Death causes a lot of changes in life. Scorpios cause a lot of changes in life. Definitely a metaphor. So you must let go of the past to embrace the new. And if anybody could tell you that, it would definitely be a Scorpio, because they just understand more than any other sign how important it is to let go of what is no longer serving you. They don't really care. Like, they're such a fixed sign that if they figure out something's bad for them, they just go with it. Like, they're not gonna bargain like a Pisces would or like a mutable sign would. They're just gonna know that, you know what, I see it needs to leave, I'm gone. They're not a fence rider. You know, it's either black or white with a Scorpio. How ironic. Yes or no. You know, they're very fixed, so they appreciate more straight shooting answers. And, you know, they are death themselves, so why would they want to play games? Like, I don't play games with you. When someone dies, I just come. So, you know, I expect the same in return, and that's Scorpio energy. So the ruling planet of Scorpio is Mars, the god of war, and that's, you know, a lot of death is involved in war, you know. It's a very scary, bloodsheddy thing. So, you know, thank God we have the Scorpios with their dark night energy to kind of come forth and take the bullet for people who are too, you know, too, what do I want to say, light, and too, you know, it just takes a certain type of person to be able to do this, to take this such scary figure on. Like, have you ever looked at a Scorpio? If you're not enlightened or spiritual, you're going to think that they're just not a good person. But you have to look past that. Even me, I've been hurt by a few Scorpios, and I don't just shy away from every Scorpio I know, because they're a water sign, and they're my sister sign. So I just know that there's way more to be seen, and it's not fair to judge a Scorpio based off of the energy. Like, even if you didn't know that this was this card for Scorpio, you still feel this way. Like, some people feel this about Scorpio, and, you know, everybody has their own job in the zodiac wheel. And some of us have harder jobs than others, but who's to say that? So, in this card, the king dies. A baby, an adolescent, and a woman are left crying to depict everyone. And this is to depict that everyone is affected by death. Everyone is affected by death. We all know that. And everyone is affected by Scorpios. We all know that. Well, maybe some of you didn't know that, but Scorpio is just as intense as death can be. I mean, they come into your life and things just change naturally because of it. And that's this card has definitely been chosen to be this ruling card of Scorpio for a reason. And there's similarities there. So nobody is above death, and death comes on a white horse to symbolize purity. You know, he even has that flag that I was talking about. So it's not all dark, you know. There's good in death. And it's just, you know, if death was an actual person, I think that he would feel very shunned by people in this life, because death is very misunderstood. We don't really have a clear answer for death. And as humans, we don't like things that aren't clear because we like to know. There's already so much that we don't know. So we tend to shy away from things that don't exactly have a straight up meaning, you know. And that can be hard for Scorpio because they enjoy that too. They enjoy knowing and having a straight up meaning for things, but there's just areas in life that can't be so cut and dry like that, you know. It's kind of up to spirit to interpret it, and up to you and the individual to interpret it as well. So see, a white horse symbolizes purity and cleansing light, because, you know, after you die you do see the light, and there is good in it. So let's see, the skeleton wears armor to protect himself. The Scorpio has so much protection. So let's talk about the scorpion for a minute. You have this creature with like this armor shell on it, and then you have these pinchers in the front, and you have this like stinger tail in the back that could just kill you with one fucking like prick and you're dead. So why on earth would this Scorpio need even more protection when you're so badass already? So this is just a metaphor and a symbol from spirit that the Scorpio feels the need to protect itself. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say, y'all don't know it, but Scorpio be controlling demons. Like, Scorpio definitely, you know, the 8th house is a very dark realm. The 8th house is before the 9th house, before the 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. So Scorpio has to travel through Sagittarius fire in order to get to the heavenly realm. They're so far away from angels, and, you know, so they have this responsibility of, I mean, the only person in the zodiac who could control the darkness is Scorpio. So we have Scorpio in the 8th house controlling these dark realms, and Scorpio be doing work. People don't know it, but they experience darkness inside of them and inside of their minds on a daily basis. And there is no right or wrong way. Like, people are intimidated and don't like to look at Scorpios, and it's because, man, they've been through it, and you don't know the half. Like, you try being this person. So I feel for you, Scorpios. I definitely know about the things that you do, and I applaud you, because it's not easy. It's scary, and not every zodiac sign would even be willing to do that. So the Scorpio shouldn't have anything to fear. I have this in quotes, you know, even though you shouldn't have anything to fear, because you've seen fear itself. Like, you've literally looked death in the face and chose to be him. It's, you know, Scorpios are pretty fearless people. You see this knight, he's riding in, and he's a skeleton, you know. And maybe some Scorpios even feel dead on the inside because of this, but it's not that. It's because you just have such a fixed responsibility. Like, look at what you've taken on. It's not easy to just charge up to this family with your flag and be like, oh, everything's okay. Like, it's not easy. And who's to say that you shouldn't have anything to fear, Scorpio? Because you've seen more than I have, and I don't know much about that life. So maybe we should talk. So death holds a black flag with a white flower representing the beauty in death. Everybody always sees the darkness, but there is beauty in death. There's a promising future, a promising rebirth that happens. You know, I'm sure that's not the first thing. Even though that's the biggest thing in this picture, I'm sure that's not what the people saw. They see the dead body in the night and the scary skeleton. And of course they don't notice the light, the promising future happening. They don't see it. You know, they're caught up on the dark. So another thing that I would like to say about Scorpios is that don't get caught up in the darkness you feel about them, because the light is already so small to see that you don't want to make it harder, you know, and you don't want to hurt a Scorpio like that, because they're so used to being treated like just the disregards, like oh, that's just the 8th house. Like, well, that's not how I am. I definitely know the importance of Scorpio. You guys have a very, very important, not so easy job. You know, even explaining this card was a little intimidating, so I can only imagine what you guys actually feel, you know. And I just don't want any Scorpios out there watching this to think, oh my god, like, oh, I'm just gonna die, and my tarot card is just so evil. Like, trust me, there's More cards to come, and a little bit more difficult one to explain, but this is the first of the there's two cards that are just pretty hard to explain, and death is definitely one of them. You have to be able to see death. You know, you can't fear death. You can't fear a Scorpio. Fear is just going to get in the way of the true meaning of what the Scorpio brings, and the true meaning of death. So, yeah, it's so ironic that the next thing I wrote is look past my darkness. A lot of Scorpios, their soul says that. Look past, like the way they look at you, it's just like, are you the one? Are you the one that's going to see my light hidden behind all of this darkness? Like, I don't care who you are or what kind of Scorpio you are, you do have a longing for that inside, because look how people treat you. Even when you're in stores, like, you just feel these people cower and get scared, and you're like, what did I do? I don't even have my stinger out. Like, why are you so afraid? Like, I didn't even touch you yet. So I definitely feel that. And let's see. This represents the beauty in death, immortality. Immortality. Scorpio, you're immortal. And this is also, Scorpios have an amazing ability to transform pain into love. That is so beautiful. And I definitely stand behind that, because like I said, I do know a few Scorpios, and they just have such a magical way. I mean, they're kings of death. They're the black knights, the dark knights. So when you're a dark knight and you're the 8th house of hidden intimacy in the shadow work, then you're definitely able to turn people's fears into positivity. I mean, you do it on a regular basis for your own self. So Scorpios have an amazing gift when it, like, there is benefits to this, you guys. Some people aren't aware of how bad it can get. You are a Scorpio, so you are able to live life in a way that you don't have certain things held over your head, because you're death anyways. You know how bad it can get. You know you're not here for that long, so, you know, you can't play a Scorpio. And it also says, you know, Scorpions, if you think of the actual creature, like, just everything about the 8th house is just so scary. You got the Dark Death card, the Dark Death skeleton, you got the Dark Death Scorpio that they're represented by. Like, come on, poor Scorpios. And even me, I'm not gonna act perfect. Even me, when I see a Scorpio, the vibes are sometimes too much to take. Like, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in a realm right now, because not everybody's so used to. Scorpio can't shut this off. Like, this is life for them. So it's really hard for people to understand. I'm sure Scorpio feels misunderstood most of the time. But don't worry, Scorpio. You'll meet someone just as dark and twisted as you. And that will create darkness. I mean, that will create light. So let's see. Yes, Scorpions are creepy and they're dark. And even in some scary movies, you know, it's even a sign that the devil is around or something like that. When a scorpion, or, you know, serpents, they're all creepy crawly things. And, you know, Scorpio energy can feel creepy crawly, but you have to look at the soul of a person. You have to look beyond that, because it's a test on everyone else. Scorpio is a test of how well the rest of the zodiac and the rest of the world can interpret and befriend death. You know, it's a test. If you're going to be scared and hide away, then that's a reflection of you. But if there's nothing that you have to hide, then you're going to be best friends with a Scorpio, because you're going to feel just like they do. So Scorpio in the struggle with emotion. They are a fixed sign, and all of this has no emotion. Like, if you're going to be death, you really can't have too much emotion, because you're going to listen to that person who's not ready to go, and you're not going to touch them with your left hand and kill them. So death, you know, I've watched a lot of different movies and a lot of different shows where, you know, the Grim Reaper is a character, and it's usually an emotionless figure. You know, I have yet to see, it's always this profound, dark person that's beautiful, though. Beautiful. Scorpios are beautiful. Even the males, like, they just have these intense physical features about them. And it's just beautiful in a way, you know, in a dark way. And it just, I think Scorpio, you know, it goes to show you that darkness can be beautiful. But like I was saying about the emotions, you know, Scorpio can have a little bit of trouble with depicting their emotions towards certain situations, because so much in life is calling you to not be emotional. Like, okay, Scorpio, you're death, don't be emotional. Scorpio, you're a scorpion and you're supposed to sting people, don't be emotional. Scorpio, you're a fixed water sign, don't be too emotional. Scorpio, you're the 8th house of intimacy, and I think that helps to be the house of intimacy, because emotions are involved with intimacy. But you are, you know, the opposite zodiac sign of Scorpio is Taurus, the season that we're in now. And we can't forget to mention the full moon coming up on May 10th. So, Scorpios, don't worry. The darkness that you've been facing is going to have light shed on it. And there's a lot of light coming to earth for you guys. So, if you're a Scorpio watching this, I would definitely keep a lookout on May 10th for the beautiful full moon that I have been anticipating. I have Scorpio in my north node, Scorpio in my midheaven. So, needless to say, I'm definitely ready. And I think when the moon is in Scorpio, when you have a full moon in Scorpio, I think it, you know, Scorpio's not used to having light. I mean, look how small the light is. Even the rest of the cloud, it's just white sky, like cloud. Not really much sun. There's a lot of sadness here. So, for the moon to be in such a sign like Scorpio is amazing. So, because Scorpio doesn't get much light often, and I think they deserve it. So they do struggle with emotion because they're a fixed sign, but they're very strong and stable, and sometimes realistic people. I mean, we might not think death is realistic, but we ain't getting out of here alive, guys. So I'm not even gonna hate on Scorpio. I say get you a Scorpio friend, a genuine one, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some Scorpios, you know, they can be dark occultish, and if you're not enlightened and spiritual, then you may lead astray and become more of a dark figure like this. But as far as you spiritually enlightened Scorpios and you good-hearted Scorpios, you know, they're really good people to have around. They'll protect you like this knight. They're really protective people and really loyal people, you know, and they'll sting your ass. And they'll sting someone for you too. So always nice to have a Scorpio friend around. And you know, just be careful, Scorpio. And don't beat yourself up too much if people see you like this card. Now, I don't, you know, maybe some of you understand more why you're so intimidating and so scary. But it's going to be okay, Scorpio. It's because the people who wind up in your life are meant to be there, not the people who are scared and shy away from you and who you're trying to get, but you just can't be who they want you to be. It's okay. There's going to be someone who comes along who accepts you for this, and so that you can be who you are, which is exactly what you're meant to be, Scorpio. Okay, now we can move on to the 9th house of higher beliefs and Sagittarius. This is the Temperance card. Another lovely card that just gives me a weird vibe. So we're gonna explain our way through this. Okay, hello Sagittariuses. Make sure you take a good look at your card. Now, Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign, and I just love, the first thing I see in this card is the fire wings. You know, they're very red, and this is a very angelic vibe. So we might have some Sages out there that are some like fire angels, some, you know, maybe archangels. You know, definitely Sag energy. The main thing about Sagittarius is that they're ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet of higher thinking. It's like abstract thought, okay? And the best way to explain Jupiter and Sagittarius is like a mad scientist. Like, Sag does not give a fuck. Like, they're not afraid to mix this and that together and their whole lab blow up and they'll just start from scratch. Like, they're not cautious. Sag is very adventurous, such a fun energy. I don't know many Sagittariuses, but the ones that I do know are very light-spirited and fun and just ready to go, ready for the party, ready for adventure. Like, if you mention to a Sag that you want to do something, they're like, let's go, let's do it right now. Like, yes, that sounds great, I'm down, let's go. Everybody needs a good Sagittarius friend, you know. And then, you know, most Sagittariuses that I have explained this card to, they see Temperance as, oh, my temper, I have a temper, and you know, that might have something to do with this card. But after doing a little research and opening up my intuition, I realized that this card is more about experimenting, which is so on point for Sagittarius, because life is such a huge experiment for Sag. Like, they're just, you know, it's no mistake that Leo is the fixed fire sign, because Leo's like the child, and then you have Aries, who's the God's favorite child, and then you have Sagittarius that's mutable. It can be anything that they want. They're this archer. You know, it'd be pretty cool if she had like a bow and arrow or something, but you know you're an archer, Sag. You know you got that target. But It's more about what she's doing with the cups, you know, and pay close attention to this lady's feet. Anytime that you see water and earth in a tarot card, it's symbolizing growth, spirituality, intuition. So the Sag is smart, you know, he or she is not going to put his foot in both. You know, so this card is about balancing your intuition and applying it to the life that you're living. And then the reason it's Temperance is because the lady, the angel, I should say, is actually pouring water from one cup to another. And this is a scientific process called tempering. Let's see if I said that right. Temperance, temptation. Well, yeah, you're pouring, you know, it's kind of like what a scientist would do if they want an equal measure of things, which Sagittarius, don't be sad. Sag has a need for a more enlightened state of being. Like, they're very restless people, so if you're a Sag that just can't stand still, it's because your spirit doesn't want to, man. Like, you're just ready to do whatever. You have a lot to do here. You're an archer. You're a portal. Sages, you know, they're very secretly spiritual. They're not really sure how to express the spiritualness that they feel because they're stuck at the ninth house. And the ninth house is all about beliefs, you know. And I mean, they really are. You need to see Sagittarius like Jupiter, like their planet, because Jupiter messes with us. Like, the planet Jupiter will just mix this people together and mix this emotion together. It's a mad scientist just trying shit. Like, and that's like really kind of on point when it comes to Sagittarius, because they just try shit. Like, they're just, let's see what happens when I put this in this cup. And oh, well, that's not quite balanced. So let's pour it back and let's pour it back and let's pour it back. So Sag, you know, you might feel like this is how life is for you, just pouring from one cup and pouring into another just so that I can feel some. And maybe you don't feel balanced, Sagittarius. That's why I know a lot of Sag Libra combinations, because Sag wants to feel balanced. I mean, they're a centaur, they're human and a horse, and then they have this archer. So Sag is another one of those misunderstood signs. You know, they're not just hyper party animals. They're actually looking for a better meaning in life. They're like almost angels, or, you know, something in the image of an angel almost. And so this is where Temperance comes in. And you see the lady with her foot in spirituality, but not all the way, because Sages, they're very passionate fire signs, you know, very, very passionate fire signs. But no wonder they won't put their whole foot in the water, because they're not going to put their fire out completely. But like I said, Sag has a secret spiritualness to them. And, you know, since Sag is the ninth house is more so about like beliefs and higher thinking. So spirituality is kind of foreign to the ninth house, because, you know, Sag basically has to see spirituality almost like Virgo. They have to see spirituality in a more scientific way. Like, so if you talk to a Sag, they're going to talk to you about what they believe. Sag just knows a lot. Like Sagittarius, they might not care for school that much, or, you know, they're more of like indigo children, like create like way out of this world aliens almost. Like, if you know a Sag person, they're just different. You know, Nicki Minaj, Sagittarius, Taylor Swift, Sagittarius, Sia, Sagittarius, like very, very different thinking people. Not afraid. I mean, you know, and Chris Crocker is also a Sagittarius. And one thing I know about Sag is that this whole I don't want to stop moving thing can cause them a great deal of anxiety. So take a deep breath, Sag. Own up to who you are. It's okay for things not to be perfect, and, you know, and that's a good thing that I said that, because one thing I always try to keep in mind about Sagittarius is that they have to be the archer. So what does an archer want to do? They want to hit the target, you know. They're an archer. Like, they can hit an enemy from very far away. So it's very easy to become a kind of target hitter as a Sagittarius. So you're very goal oriented. Anything can be considered a target. Like, I want him to be my boo. Target. You know, and you want to hit that, like literally, you want to hit the target. And it could also be this job that you've been wanting. Like, oh, I want that job. I want to get paid more, you know. And I know Sagittarius do not like to have authority, because you guys are just otherworldly figures. I'm not even sure what to call you. You're just, you know, I'm down with the weirdness. Like, I like weirdness, so I get into a lot of conversations about I get into a lot of conversations with Sagittariuses, and it just gets my brain going. Like, I have my ruling, I'm ruled by Neptune, but my ancient ruler is Jupiter, Sag is ruler. So when I talk to a Sagittarius, they're talking to a higher part of me, and I'm just like, and I'm like talking back to them and stuff. But and I've even heard astronomically that when a Pisces and a Sag talk, it might sound like zeep bop boo boop boop to other people, but we're actually talking and communicating. We're just weird. But I like Sag. They can be pretty intense, things like that. But I mean, just take a look at the card. Not much to fear. They're just concentrating. They just want better in life, you know. Let's see what else I wrote about Sagittarius. Always looking for and striving for a more enlightened state of being. That's so true. And the angel is using a process called tempering. There we go. A slow process that leads to the perfect middle state. So Sag, you might not really know what to think about it, but you're always looking for that perfect medium. So maybe that's why Sag is like Libras too, because Libras have that perfect balance. You know, Sag is so used to more than one thing. Like, Sag is used to like things being like either this or that, and that's interesting for a mutable sign. So Sag is looking for that perfect balance between things, like that stability, because they are a mutable sign. So, you know, they want the stability that Leo has. So Sag is going through life just looking for stability, trying to create it themselves, but they're such a mad scientist that they need a little bit of help, or no help at all, depends on the Sagittarius. So they are very prone to new ideas. You know, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Bill Nye is a Sagittarius, and that is what's up, because he's Bill Nye the science guy, and science is cool, and he's awesome. He comes up with these different ways of thinking, and he has just such a way of explaining things. Like, I just really like Sagittariuses, because I know that they're just as zany and crazy as me. And so when I meet a Sagittarius, I'm just like, finally somebody who understands, like, another crazy portal. Thank you for understanding. And they don't even have to try, like, they just say things. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so happy someone else thinks that. So let's see, the angel. Sag is the 9th house of philosophy. Yep, Bill Nye. And this is a balance card. 1 foot on land and 1 foot in water, both physical and spiritual worlds. So Sag, that's why you feel so crazy, Sag, is because one of your feet are always in the spiritual realm. So if you have weird dreams, or you feel weird energies, or you just, Sagittarius is just no. But they're not like a Pisces who is completely engulfed in the water, you know. Sag is smart, so they keep 1 foot out because they know that they have to keep alive. They have to be realistic. Yep, ruling planet Jupiter. I already talked about that a little bit. So Jupiter is also known as the disruptor, and that's because, you know, it's experimental. That's the big word here for Sagittarius, is that they like to experiment with things. They're not afraid of what the experiment might mean. Like, who cares? Mix the two. Who cares if it blows up? Quit worrying so much. Go. Let's just find the cure, man. So yeah, it's very optimistic and pessimistic. So for any Sagittariuses, you know, who are worried about their outlook on life, just know that you're naturally this beautiful figure pouring. So, you know, it's about sacrifice and gain. Sacrifice and gain, because the Sagittarius, you know that at the end of all this, you're going to have the perfect balance. So Libra might not understand, because Libra is so used to just having balance. But Sag creates it, and it takes a lifetime, you know. So you're an optimist and a pessimist, Sagittarius, but just make sure you switch from each two, because both are equally experimental. You know, you can be an optimist who experiments, and you can be a pessimist who experiments. So experiment with pessimism and optimism. I said, I don't need you. I got it all, Sagittarius. Yes, you do, Sag. And you do have this triangle on your chest, and there was a part where I talked about that. I believe the triangle in the middle of you represents life. It represents the trinity of all. So Sag, you are a centaur. You're half man and half horse. Did you guys know that? Did you know that you're half horse and half man? And you guys are in the forest, very hard to come by. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a real life centaur, and I really want to. Very mythical people, very spiritual, but like I said, you're in the forest. So almost like Virgo, Sag hides their spirituality because they're so 9th house about it. They're like, what does this mean? Is this my beliefs? Do I believe in this spirituality? So you are archers, so you want to have precise vision and accuracy when it comes to goals. That's another well said thing, you know. You can't be an archer and be okay with not hitting the target right in the middle. Like, I don't care who you are, the goal is to hit it right in the middle. And Sagittarius kind of feel that way in life, like, oh man, I didn't hit it right in the middle. You know, I didn't hit it right in the middle though, and I could have, and so and so did. I'm the archer. You know, so just be careful beating yourself up like that, Sag, because I can't even shoot a bow and arrow. So just be glad that you did. So yes, Sag does want to have precise vision and accuracy, but just don't be too mean to yourself. Goals come with time, Sagittarius. So this does also mean sobriety. You know, I know that you guys are pretty party signs and kind of fun and exciting and adventurous. So it does kind of mean sobriety and abstinence. I know, so I just lost some of you there. Like, oh fuck no, I don't want to be sober and I don't want to quit having sex. Cause Sag, I know you guys. You know, you like that party stuff. You know, you really like it. But just make sure you still keep in touch with your purity, because look at this figure. You know, she's not exactly you know, corrupt. She's beautiful. She's calm. You know, so just make sure you don't lose touch in the middle of all that experimenting and stuff. Just, you can run into some pretty bad people, so just be careful, Sag. Not that you couldn't like shoot them anyways. So yeah, you are a portal, you know. And back to the lady's feet now. Let's look at her feet. You are a portal, Sagittarius, and you're in between worlds. That's why Sag is a portal, because you're in between worlds, the spiritual and the logical. So, you know, you're not going to be very understood, because most people are either or, like, I don't believe or I do. But you're both, Sag, you know. That's part of being the ninth house, is just believing and not believing in things. Finding your own truth and your own facts to back that up. And you guys are fire angels. I believe that. I think every Sag is a fire angel, here to set fire and make things more passionate. See in that background? Oh, you guys must be royalty too. It looks like a crown to me. And also, Sag, don't forget your path. Look where it will lead. The rings in this picture represent blood, life, and fire. Three things that Sagittarius has to sacrifice. Or not so much sacrifice, but hold on to, or know the value of, I want to say. And okay, the triangle represents Trinity, the spirit. Also, a triangle is the fire symbol. That makes sense. So definitely a lot of fire energy going on. So at the heart of you, in the center of you, you are a fire sign. And that's a red triangle for you. So definitely on fire, Sag. And yeah, like I said, you know, just don't forget about your wings in the middle of all that experimenting. Okay, time to move on to the 10th house, Capricorn. Where are my Capricorns at? I'm a Capricorn rising. Okay, guys, just brace yourself and don't take this so seriously, Capricorn, ambitious little people, big people. Here's your card. Now, let's just let this sink in for a minute and just let me get ready to explain this. This is the most misunderstood zodiac card. Capricorn, are you the most misunderstood zodiac sign? Do you misunderstand yourself? So let's just get going into this card, okay? Because it's very important for me to do this justice, so that all the Caps out there watching this can, after watching this, have a better understanding. That's my main goal here. And Capricorns are about goals now, so this is one of the most misunderstood cards. This is a card of temptation and sexuality. Let's face it, Cap, you know, you guys are very tempting yourself, and you guys do suffer from a lot of temptation in life. A lot of people are always trying to throw Capricorn off. You guys ever notice that? And this is why, because your ruling card is a temptation card. Like, this is a very tempting card. Like, oh, look at me. Like, it just feels creepy. Well, it is a temptation and sexuality card, which Capricorn does, you know, deal with in life. Also, you know, the animal in the zodiac for Capricorn is the sea goat. So you're half goat. Take a look at the figure there. He's half goat too. And just a lot of this has to do with symbolism. So don't take this the wrong way, Cap. You're not the devil. You just have to be careful, because this wants you. It has always wanted you. This is a part of you, and if you're not careful, it will become you entirely. That's the message that I want to say about this card. And like I was saying about the symbols, the goat is a very unclean animal. And listen, every Capricorn I know is so fucking clean. And I think that's why, cleanliness is next to godliness. A lot of similarities here, man. Well, the goat is an unclean animal. The way that they live is unclean. And so that's why the goat, to be half man, which is unclean too, humans are not pure and not clean. So to be a goat and a man, it just makes you this. That's why Capricorns are pretty clean people. Well, Capricorns are the sea goat, half goat, just like the figure in the card. Caps always are driven to strive for more, the best. I know Capricorns definitely, they can be not materialistic, but they like the finer things in life, the best of the best. Like, I know I have a Capricorn friend, and he likes, if someone else has it, so can he. And I definitely, admire that about Capricorns, because not only do they like, oh, I can have that, they go out and get it, baby. Like, they want the best of the best, and they're not ashamed. Like, they feel like the best of the best already. So with this being the devil card, I'm not a biblical person, so just bear with me here as I make these similarities. The devil is also like that. He's always promising you the best of the best, and he's always promising you, like, oh, you have that? Like, have you guys ever heard The Devil Went Down to Georgia? Like, he promised that guy, like, a golden fiddle. Johnny won. The devil lost in that song, but he's always promising you more. They always say, the devil doesn't come to you as a horned figure. He comes to you in everything that you love, in everything that you value, everything that you want. He promises you it all. But be careful, Capricorn. Be careful, everyone, for this type of energy, but mostly Capricorn, because it's just significant that this is your guys' card. To me, spiritually, I feel intuitively that you are the most tested with this energy, because you're the most at home with this energy. If I were the devil and I had these little zodiac sign Capricorns that embody me the most, I would definitely want to take them out, or I'd want them to be on my side. So just be careful, Capricorn, because this devil card can come to you in the form of a job, in the form of a relationship, in the form of your parents, your friends, anything that can, because Capricorns work a lot. They're very work sign. They're the 10th house of the work we do. Not so much like Virgo, but earth signs, all Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, they work a lot. And I know that work sometimes can be the devil. Like, it takes you away from time with your friends and family. It makes you feel like exhausted. So just be careful with that, Capricorn. So like I said, Capricorns are always driven, and they strive for, let's see, they strive for more. They strive for the best. It's okay, Capricorn. So it's okay that you want the best, but just don't sacrifice anything along the way, because if anything makes you believe that you need help doing what you do, did you hear what I just said, Capricorn? Something wants to make you believe that you need help. Capricorn do not need help. You guys are okay on your own, and you all know that. Like, you might not want to feel alone. I'm not saying you guys are okay with being alone, but you don't need this guy coming and promising you shit. I'm speaking to the choir. I think you guys already know this. So let's get going and keep reading about this. Capricorns often feel unsatisfied with what they have. I need the Capricorns to hit me up. Let me know what you think about that, because I have a Capricorn rising, and it does make me feel like there's always more. Like, oh, this is, and that's very devilish energy. Like, I'm not saying that it's devilish to feel that way as a human, but can you see the comparison? Like I said, I'm not a religious person, but the devil wanted more than what he was being offered. So he thought he was the best, and he was cast down, or however you want to read the story out, whatever. I'm not a Christian, but be careful, be careful, Capricorn, for careful of, not being okay with what you have, because everything's, even for you Capricorns, everything, you guys are the mountain goat. And before all this shit, before I learned a lot about astrology. I know way more than what I used to know. And that's how I used to see you guys. I used to see you guys as the mountain goat, very ambitious people. This has added a little bit more to my, you know, I'm more aware of the energy that is challenging with Capricorn. But I know that as long as you're okay, and still work, Capricorn, still work towards better. But at the same time, you need to find balance between being okay with where you're at, be okay with the job you have. I know you're worth more than that job you have, and you're worth more than the house you're living in. And maybe you're worth more in the relationship. But just be careful to pay attention to all the negatives, because then this guy he loves when you guys get like that, because he knows that you'll do evil things when you feel less than, but you're not less than, Capricorn. And so it might help you guys to every day, or any time that you feel like, oh, I'm just not the best, I'm just not doing very well, then name 5 or 10 things, you know, between 5 and 10 things that you're proud of right now. Like, so when you get feeling like that, be like, you know, I have a job, I like the people I work with, I have a house, I have amazing friends, I'm in love. Make sure you shower yourself with things that you are okay with, because if not, you're at the mercy of this man. These two people, you know, Capricorn, you can either see yourself as this manipulative figure, because, you know, you have the power to be this character, or you can see yourself at the mercy of this manipulative character. These people wanted more. They were already human. They already had enough, but they wanted more. She wanted more. He wanted more. So they followed him into this lair. This is all darkness. There's no way out of here. And look at them. This is Adam and Eve here. Like, I wish I had the Lovers card right here, because this is the Lovers card gone dark. So, and this is one of the things I cannot forget to mention. So the thing about the Devil card, just kind of giving Caps a little bit of break. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it means to just have it in a reading. So when this card, and it has, you know, I've never really had it jump out. Actually, I have. So this card, it means codependent relationships. It means, you know, you're relying too much on something that isn't trustworthy. And a closer look, these people are not trapped here. Look at his neck, and look at how big that chain is around his neck. Now, if he was stuck there, it would be a lot tighter around his neck. Look at her. At any moment, they could take these chains off and leave. But this is what the Devil card is trying to show all of us, and it's trying to show Capricorns, is that the devil exists in our mind. He exists in a realm, in a different place. You know, like I said, he doesn't come to you with horns. He comes to you in everything that you want and desire. But it's a mental thing, Capricorn. It's a mental thing, you guys. If you're feeling stuck to this, if you're feeling chained and bound to a life that you don't want to live anymore, take those motherfucking chains off and go, because you're your own devil. And I think that's the message for Capricorn, is that, I mean, you guys get it the easiest, Caps, because, I mean, you know, I've talked to a couple Capricorns about this, and they are not afraid. I don't even know why I didn't think that before I started recording this, that none of you are afraid anyway. Like, I guess I just felt a little timid or afraid to scare somebody or to explain this wrong. But really, I've showed a couple Capricorns this, like, hey, do you know what your ruling tarot card is? And they're like, oh, what? I'm like, the devil. And they're like, oh. I'm like, are you concerned? And they just, you know, that just proves that you guys understand this. And honestly, between all the other zodiac signs, you probably can handle this energy. You're most like this energy. Like, it's just about not being this to yourself, and don't be this to other people. Just be careful. So let's see. Yes, speaking of being careful, the next thing is be careful not to use or hurt others while climbing to the top, mountain goat. Capricorns, the only reason they're here is to get to the top of the top. And even when they get to the top, if they find out there's higher, they're like, I'm going. I deserve to be up there. And like I said, I have a rising Capricorn sign, so I have a little bit of this energy as well. But I know that it's extremely important to just take a moment, appreciate where you are, so that nothing comes to try to manipulate you. Even you, Capricorn, even you are at state to be manipulated by this figure. Some of you may have this figure in your life now, and you have to remove the chains. You have to, or you're going to be in a dark place with no way out. And look at them. They used to be human, and now they look like Big Papa up here. See? Now they got horns, and look at his tail. Humans don't have tail. These people are becoming less and less human the longer they stay with this figure. So isolation can be a way to prevent this. In danger of being manipulative, Capricorns, you definitely are in danger of being manipulative. Being manipulative to other people, because Cap, I know you know it. I know you know that you have manipulation powers. You can just give someone a look and just get anything you want, right? Be careful. Make sure you're doing that in the name of light and in good ways, because you know that karma is real, and you guys have such a powerful stare and such a powerful hypnotic, you have such a profound impact on other people. Look at this guy. He got these two people to stand here even though they're not chained. So Capricorn, you have this power, but I would feel a lot more comfortable if this was like a heavenly figure, or this card is not good. You know, even, and I know it's the most misunderstood card, but that doesn't mean that it's not bad. When this card comes up, I know that somebody is in a codependent relationship, or they're holding on to something that is eating away at their soul. So just be careful of that, Capricorn. Because the devil is about feeling trapped or stuck. That's how he has his power over you. That's how the devil takes power over you, is making you feel like you have no way out. But you're more powerful than devil. You're alive. You're a Capricorn. You're and even for the Capricorn or the other people listening, you're stronger than that. Why would he want you so bad if you weren't anything? If you weren't powerful, why would the devil want you at his throne? Just think about that. So the devil is about feeling trapped, and he is about making you feel stuck. And even Adam and Eve, you know, he wants them to be slaves. And like I told you, you know, take a closer look at those chains. And apply this metaphorically to your life. Take a closer look at what is holding you captive, and know that it's so possible for you to break free. You're not a slave. You're free. You are free. Well, I do want to talk about the ruling planet for Capricorn, and it is Saturn. Saturn is the Lord of Karma. He's like a father figure. Saturn's retrograde right now. I love Saturn. Saturn is my favorite planet, and it makes a lot of sense for Capricorn to be ruled by Saturn, because Saturn has to keep you in check. Like, if this figure, even the devil is ruled by karma. The only reason he is what he is because he has a karmic agreement with the universe. I know that sounds creepy, but open up your minds, people. The devil has a karmic agreement with the universe to test human beings. Like, God isn't no fool. Like, he's not going to just let people into his kingdom or let people into his light that don't deserve it. So there's this figure that it acts as a, you know, it's almost like I remember writing here, the scapegoat. If you guys don't know what a scapegoat is, it's something that we blame everything on. And, you know, this is a goat. Capricorns are the goat. So don't blame your problems on a Capricorn. Don't blame your problems on the devil. You know, the devil is in all of us. So we're just blaming ourselves, but we're trying to make it feel like we're not. It's okay to take responsibility. You know, that's what these people need to do. If they would just take responsibility and stop feeling like in an illusion and feeling sorry for themselves, it takes pride. These people are going to stay here forever if they don't gain self-worth. Self-worth is taking those chains off, you know, and leaving. They're better than that, but they don't feel it, so they're going to stay there. But Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of restrictions, chains, limitations, chains. So Capricorn, be careful in the ways that you let yourself be limited and restricted, and be careful of the ways that you restrict and limit others, because you don't want this energy going on. You don't want to be this. So don't feel limited by your expectations from others or even yourself. You are free, Capricorn. You're free to feel good enough right now. You're free to be happy about the goals that you've reached in life. You don't have to let this big nasty figure make you feel like, oh, Capricorn, there's more that you could be doing, Capricorn. Oh, there's higher that you could get, Capricorn. Go higher. Kick that person. Push that person down. Cap, you don't need that. And let's not forget, you know, if we want to get biblical with this, the devil was an angel at one point in time. And if he would have embraced that side of him, instead of sacrificing all the light left in him, he would still be identified with an angel. But look at his wings. He does have wings still, but they're just creepy. So don't get it twisted. Capricorns are still angels. and they still have a purpose here. But just be careful, Cap. I know you know you're powerful, but just be powerful about being powerful. Okay, I found a little bit more notes about the Capricorn. I know I went on and on about that, but this is good. So I'm just going to read it because I want you guys to hear this. Biblically, the devil is used as a symbol and a form of karma, which is why Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the lord of karma. Lucifer in the devil was the best singer in the choir, and he was cast down to earth. So Cap is an earth sign. So there are synchronicities here. The Capricorn is earth. The devil was cast down to earth. So that's why you're an earth sign, Capricorn. You're a cardinal earth sign. So you were here first. Well, see, Lucifer means the light bringer. You know, he has a very beautiful name, and he was the most beautiful angel, Lucifer was. And it's no coincidence that Virgo is also an earth sign. Virgo and Capricorn, angels and the devil, share the same element. They're both earth. Let that sink in. So also, don't be a scapegoat. I talked a little bit about that. I kind of jumped around a little bit more. So don't blame the devil for the things that you do wrong. Don't project your inferior side on others, Capricorn. Don't make them feel... Oh, it says don't project your inferior side onto others to feel better. Oh, okay. Do you know what I mean by that, Cap? Like, sometimes Capricorn likes to let their integrity be known. Like, oh, well, even if they feel a slight bit of powerless, they're like, it's time to bring out the power, baby. And then you project that onto people. You do these petty things. And don't get me wrong, I love you, Cap. I'm a Cap rising, so I have it in me too. I'm just a little bit more, behind the scenes with it. Y'all be up front, like, I'm the best. I'm here. I'm winning. Like, and you're not. So just be careful of that so that you can avoid, this creepy ass energy. This is a conscious card. The devil exists inside of us and in the subconscious. I meant to go into that a little bit when I talked to you about there not being a door out of here, So these people seem like they're stuck here. Remember, the devil's about being stuck and trapped. Well, the devil can only exist inside your mind. That's why the devil exists in all of us. We all have impure thoughts. So he exists in the subconscious realm, which is scary because I'm a Pisces and the 12th house is all about subconscious. Well, bring it on. I know my place. You must be aware. The devil has a hypnotic stare, drawing people in. The Capricorns are serious people who have a serious job to do. So don't be distracted. Okay, I just wanted to, incorporate that a little bit because I didn't want to leave that out. All right. Okay, well, moving on to a lighter energy, very, very light. We have the 11th house, Aquarius. You are the star card. Just take a look, Aquarius. Make sure you're realizing the figures in this card and how light and beautiful. We're going to explain this a little bit more. Hopefully you can see. The lighting is getting weird. I'm losing sunlight. But we're going to finish this. This is the 11th sign, the house of community. The house of people friends you make. That's what Aquarius energy symbolizes. So let's just read a little bit of what I wrote here. Aquarius is the water bearer, okay? And let me just tell you, Aquarius is the only zodiac sign that is represented by two elements. Aquarius is naturally an air sign. And everybody gets confused about this, so let's set this record straight. You are an air sign, Aquarius. You're the fixed air sign. Right? So you're very stable with the decisions that you make. But, Aquarius has the word aqua in it. And that's why, because you are the water bearer. So you're also symbolized by the water that you give the planet. Look at this Aquarius helping everybody. If you know an Aquarius, they're just trying to make things better. They're just here for everybody's good. So the Aquarius is the water bearer, constantly refilling the ponds and bodies of water in the world. Isn't that sweet? And notice how has one foot in the water like Sagittarius, and she's pouring, what seems to be out of a very small cup, but I don't see that water ever stopping because Aquarius doesn't stop. Aquarius will never stop healing and solving and helping you. But she does not ignore that the earth needs it too. So she's so dual. Look at what she's doing. She's so busy, and Aquariuses are so misappreciated. Look at the work she's doing for our world. you know, and she's doing it as herself. She's just noticed, you know, anytime that a zodiac is naked and bearing their true soul like this, she's so comfortable with what she's doing, taking flight with what she's doing, protected by the stars that symbolize our chakras. And this is the Aquarius star. This is because you're different, Aquarius. You are different from the rest. You are very different. Aquarius, you're an alien. You know, you're from the sky. You're sent here to help humanity evolve. You sit and you watch how humanity is doing, and you experiment, kind of. You are the aliens of the zodiac. You're very different thinking, you know. You come from the stars, Aquarius. Look at you. Look what you do. Always thinking about the past and the future, and that's what this represents. This is someone who, because this card can come up in a regular reading, and when it comes up, you know, I'm compelled to tell someone to follow their intuition, to stay on their life path, and to take care of not only their future but their past. And that's what she's doing. She understands that this needs water. This is the spiritualness of it, the spiritualness of the future. So she's pouring and has one leg in that, but she's also kneeling with what's going on now, you know. And she understands. Aquariuses understand. That's why they're such stable people and so smart, because they know how to depict the future, the past, and the present. They're just, oh man, Aquarius. How do you even begin to explain a Martian? Let's just read what I wrote. So Aquarius is the humanitarian of the world. So they're constantly trying to make the world a better place. If you know an Aquarius, they care a lot about the community that they belong to, and they care a lot about people and helping. And they also have that fairness like Libra. So they want everything to be just. So, because Aquarius is the 11th house, and that's the house of community. So to be a humanitarian is to care about your community and to care about the human race, you know. So ruling planet of Aquarius is Uranus, the only planet to spin on its side. And I put a note like that because you're the only planet, Aquarius. Your planet is the only planet that beats to its own drum. You know what I mean? So you're very different, like aliens, you know? Aliens aren't afraid to be different. Your planet spins on its side for you, not like everybody else. So you're not afraid to be different. And if you're being Aquarius, if you feel too different for the people around you and you feel so out of place, just know that it's divine. You're supposed to stand out. You're supposed to be naked. And I don't know many Aquariuses that walk around like this, but just make sure you feel like this with your soul. There's nothing to hide. This lady's just doing her job. This man or woman Aquarius is just under the stars doing what the universe asked her to do. Aquariuses have a very special relationship with the universe. Even if you're not spiritual and if you're not into astrology, you know what I mean. You know that you have a job to do, and you know that you have to protect humanity. That's an Aquarius trait. So you are ruled by Uranus, and yes, you do dance to the beat of your own drum. I already mentioned that you're astrological aliens from the sky sent here to help all. And the naked woman is a symbol of vulnerableness. Aquariuses can be made to feel very vulnerable in their life if they're not appreciated. But sometimes vulnerable is a good thing. And you don't want anything, do you, Aquarius? Look at this lady. Do you think when she's done doing that she's going to be like, all right, where's my money? All right, I need everybody to tell me a good job. Not an Aquarius. They just do this every day, and they don't even, there's people who don't know. There's no one else around. You see anyone else looking at her? No one else knows that she does this but her. And she does it from the sweetness of her heart, or his heart. Because she understands that someone's got to do it. Someone's got to care about the universe and the community. Someone's got to pour this water, and you know what? It's going to be me, because I'm an Aquarius and I'm a water bearer. And in these jugs, I have the magical water, the water that Pisces will soon swim in, and I'm here to help. So, you know, Aquarius is very focused on the future. I don't know if you're an Aquarius and you feel that way, but if you feel so worried, like, oh my God, the future's coming, don't worry. You can handle that the best out of all of us. We don't think about the future enough, Aquarius, but you do, because you're from an alien realm where time is different, and you know it's coming soon. You know that soon we're going to all be on, you know, hovercrafts. You know, Aquarius. You're just waiting for the rest of us to, like, understand it all, you know? Don't feel alone, Aquarius. So yes, pours water into a pond and on earth to nourish both. You are a multitasker. I would say this lady is pretty multitasking. I mean, she's not just pouring water. This is a symbol. This is metaphorical. So she's, you know, multitasking. And it's like she's paying attention. Look at her. She's not spilling this. So don't worry, Aquarius. You're just worrying because you're so used to doing it all. But you can. You can do the work of the universe and the work of a community and the work of your family all in one. Look at all these stars. This is your card, Aquarius. This is beautiful. And this card comes up a lot for me. It sneaks up in my readings, or I'll be shuffling and it'll be at the bottom of my deck. And I just love it because it's a guidance card. It's the North Star is those are on the back of my cards too. So you're the North Star of the Zodiac, Aquarius, even though, you're about to be the South Node. Interesting. Interesting. For all the Aquariuses out there, just note that on May 10th, the South Node will be switching from Pisces into Aquarius. And I just want to talk to as many Aquariuses as I can about this South Node. It's like I feel sorry and scared for you guys because it's just really beat me down, the South Node. And I don't want to just hand that off like a torch to Aquarius. So I'm going to be talking to as many Aquariuses as I can up until May 10th about just kind of preparing for this South Node energy. But I know you guys can handle it, Aquarius. So we already talked about, her having one foot in the water and one foot on land. So this is about having intuition but being stable. Thanks, Aquarius. This Pisces cannot accomplish that. My intuition just rules over me, and sometimes I'm a mutable sign. I'm not fixed. And I'm not an air sign, so I'm overwhelmed with emotion and just overwhelmed with everything that I have to do that I'm like, okay, well, intuition, take over because I'm not sure what to do. I mean, I know actually it's not about not being sure what to do. I know exactly what I have to do, but I don't do it in a stable way because as a Pisces, I just put so much emphasis on my intuition. But here's an Aquarius that is able to intuitively act, but also act as be efficient, you know what I mean? And that's just so admirable. I admire Aquariuses anyway because they're the sign before me, and it's just beautiful. So you definitely have two elements in here. You have water and you have air. Aquarius, you have two. You are symbolized by two water. You're symbolized by two different elements, air and water. Water is for emotion. Air is for intellect. So Aquarius, try your best to be intellectually emotional. And I don't even have to tell you that because I know that you already feel that way and you already feel like this is something that you have to be. So congrats, Aquarius. How do you do it? How do you pour that water so carefully, Aquarius? How do you not wind up on the bottom? Definitely need some advice from an Aquarius. Not even ashamed to admit that. So yes, you are ruled by two elements, Aquarius, and don't let that confuse you. It just means that you're so cool and so foreign that the universe didn't know what element you were. Like you're kind of water, kind of air, kind of emotional, but more so intellectual. So, and then thus created the Aquarius. So the stars represent the guidance, Aquarius, I'm not sure if you know, but these stars are always present for you. Always present for you, always up above. You're always being guided and influenced by something beautiful and higher above. It represents, guidance, hope, inspiration. Aquarius is different from the rest though. So like I said, you have these stars guiding you, but at the end of the day, this lady hawks out, it disappears into the sky like the alien she is and becomes this star and guides her whole community and her whole planet. Telling y'all, these Aquariuses out here, bruh. Aquarius is different from the rest. If you didn't learn anything from this, just learn that, Aquarius, that you are different from the rest. Strong connection to their own intuition and very, very wise individuals. I love Aquariuses. And hopefully, if you're an Aquarius watching this video, you gained a little bit of a different insight towards yourself, because I know sometimes walking around like this make people judge you, like, oh, look at that lady walking around naked, look at that Aquarius walking around naked, just showing everybody what they are. Somebody's got to be brave enough to do it. So I hope that helps. and that you can see yourself in a more positive light now, because Aquarius, you're different. Okay, time to move on to the 12th house. The 12th house is Pisces. I don't know if you guys figured it out already or not, but I'm a Pisces, and it's kind of going to be ironic that this might be the one that I slaughter the most because it's just personal. But here we are, Pisces, because, you know, other Pisces out there. This is your card. I don't know, it's always backwards, but it's the moon. Interesting that Cancer is ruled by the moon, our sister sign, but in tarot, of course, our little emotional selves are ruled by the moon, wouldn't you say? Don't you think we're always looking up for guidance, always understanding the power of the moon and the sun and the cycle that, I mean, look at me recording these videos talking about this. You know, very spiritual people, Pisces. So let's take a look at what I wrote here. The moon is a card for intuition and dreams in the unconscious, you know, and that's very intense because the 12th house is also that. Pisces, we are the ending. You know, we're the most like the universe in a way, because we're all those cards we just went through. Yeah, they apply to you too, Pisces, because you are all. That's your, main job, to basically feel okay about being everybody, or about having a little bit of this in you and a little bit of that. You know, talk about mutable. You know, you are a mutant, Pisces. You're just like, let me know if you figured out a Pisces, because if you did, you're like some type of mad scientist, Sag in the 8th or something like that. So yes, the Pisces rules this with the influence of planet Neptune. So Pisces, we are ruled by Neptune, which is the planet of music, dreams, spirituality. Neptune rules the entire like, you know, Hollywood. Neptune rules that. It rules things that we see in the movies and things that we see on TV, because it's more of a visual, like Pisces are very visual people. This is a very visual card. The moon is a very visual thing usually, but also mysterious. So Pisces have that mysteriousness going on. I know I do, definitely. So the moon provides light and reflection. The whole purpose of the Pisces in the 12th house is to provide light. So Pisces, you are the light for other people. And I know that can feel kind of intense sometimes, but just think of it as an honor. You know, like all these other cards I've explained, we all have, you know, our goals and our responsibilities and duties to the universe. And one for Pisces is to provide light for other people. And I know that that can be hard, and that you sometimes wonder, well, where's my light? You know, who's going to help me? It's not always easy, but we do have a karmic agreement with the universe to show people the way and to show people the light, like the moon does, you know. So the sun illuminates our path, balance. So it's about the moon guiding us with light and the sun illuminating our path, which is like, look at these little animals. You know, you have this little crayfish, which I've read about this before. It symbolizes what happens to the subconscious when a creature that is not necessarily water is involved. So this is what happens. You come out from your murky depths, and the path becomes visual, and then there's a, you know, woo, they're howling to the moon, and wolves do that to honor the moon. They're howling to it. It makes it howl. So the path has been revealed, you know, and you walk between the two pillars of stability, and, oh, you should do this and you should do this. No, I'm gonna do this. That's what a Pisces life is like. So Pisces are very psychic and the sign of knowing. This is information that I read online. And I mean, I definitely agree with that. We definitely just have a certain knowing, with us being the mutable water sign and us being the 12th house. I definitely find that I can make anyone feel understood. I do like therapy, and, you know, that's why I start this tarot reading, because it just, I want people to feel more understood than what the world makes them, if that makes any sense. That's my job, you know. I just have this passion and this calling for people to be more easily able to be themselves. So you see these animals looking up to the higher conscious. Pisces does that all the time. We always look up for higher guidance, and we meditate a lot too. So Pisces is the most emotional sign with no shell for protection. I did want to mention this because the water signs are Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. Cancer is the crab, Scorpio is the scorpion. And those two have this protection built up for them. Pisces is the only water sign that is a fish. We're fish, you know. We don't have any protection. If you ever try to catch a fish or touch a fish, they're very jelly, very resilient, and like hard to keep a hold of. And if you hurt the fish, like we have scales, but even those scales are very easily removed. Like we're so open to swimming in the emotional waters, like we just don't care. I mean, we care, but we don't care of the harm. We're just like, take me away, waters, I know you're the answer. And then we love when people are brave enough to follow us and do that too. We try to show people all the time the benefits of that. So we're the only water sign that doesn't have any protection, so that allows spirit in a lot easier than someone who has such a wall up, you know. It sometimes has its benefits to not be protected, but you know, it definitely has its negatives as well. So Pisces is the most emotional sign with no shell for protection, as I said. So their emotions are worn on the sleeves, baby. I don't even have sleeves, but my emotions are there. I don't know how that makes sense, but Pisces, we definitely wear our emotions right on our sleeve. We're so honest and open about our emotions. We don't try to hide them. We're not ashamed of them. We want people to know how we feel. You know, we're the universe. So the universe wants you to know how it feels. And if you don't know, then you're going to find out in ways that are not as easy as just talking to us. You definitely don't want to make a Pisces feel like they can't talk to you or that they can't express themselves emotionally, because it would be like putting a void up to the entire universe. And that's just nothing you want to mess around with. We're not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to flow. So we hide often. The moon rules our emotions, and the moon is what we hide. I don't know if you guys know, but everybody has a moon sign. Mine is Taurus. So with Pisces being the moon, there is a hidden aspect to us. So the moon rules that. It rules what we hide about ourselves. So Pisces won't hide, probably because we're ruled by the moon, you know. So Pisces have the two opposite fish, you know, and there's really not much we can hide about that. I mean, we're just so compelled to be who we are that, and I don't know, I'm not a Pisces who hides who I am. I can't. I don't think there's anything wrong with who I am, and that's why I take that and I apply it to other people. So I'm a symbol to be effortlessly, unapologetically who I am, and I want anybody to follow that, you know. I want everyone to be who they are. So yeah, that's interesting that the moon usually rules our emotions and what we hide, but Pisces doesn't hide anything, because we're not a crab, we're not a crayfish, you know. We're just there, we're just a fish. We are skittish, but I don't think we hide. So we do symbolize balance, and since Pisces are the two fish, that's why we have the two opposite dogs here, and then this completely foreign creature, because hello, welcome to being a Pisces. You could be this or this or this, or you could be the sun or the moon. We definitely have opposition going on here. So Pisces, you need to gather up all these different aspects of yourself and agree on one path to take, because as a Pisces, before we're even born, we have a certain path that we've promised the universe. You know, the universe uses every Pisces for the greater good. So as soon as we hone in on this path that we want to take in life, you know, we can howl at the moon and set off. I feel like if this card was a movie, you know, we would see these three creatures disappear into the mountains and disappear into a different realm. The towers symbolize a normal life. We are not about that life. That's why we walk right in between what people say is normal. Oh, you should eat at 8 o'clock. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. It's not normal that you're this way. You don't understand me. Sorry. So this path here is the meaning of life. And we desire this, you know. You might ask someone random what their meaning of life is, and they'll tell you. But if you ask a Pisces what the meaning of life is, you're going to get a very elaborate answer based off of who they are. No matter who you are or what kind of Pisces you are, you do value life, and you value the energy that you can feel that you're supposed to be living up to. Pisces have this spiritual call, and it's not secret like Virgo. It's broadcasted. Like, we know. Like, the sun is just like Pisces. You have a divine goal. We can't not think about it, because it shows up in our dreams. It shows up in Pisces just see things in a different way. So we might be watching a movie and we hear a certain thing said, and we're like, oh my God, it was the universe. The universe said that to me. And because we see things that way, we're spirit just calls us all the time. You know, it really does. So this is a card basically showing you that things are not always as they appear. And I believe that is why Pisces is the 12th house, and that is why Pisces is the most like the universe, because even the best of the best ninth house scientists, they still can't come up with the right answer for the universe. There's so much that is unknown. So Pisces are a symbol. Remember I said we all have reasons why, you know, why we are what we are. And the reason why Pisces is the 12th house is because things are not as they seem. So is this a moon? Is this the moon card? I don't know. Is this dogs or a crayfish? Is this what it seems? Is the moon what it seems? You know? Pisces are not what they seem to be. Even when we show ourselves to you, you know, we're only showing you the best of our knowledge as to what we have experienced so far. But we know that at any moment, since we're a mutable sign, boop, completely different life. Sorry, I've changed completely, and these are my feelings. Not easy to be like that because people call you fake, and they can't peg you, and humans don't like things that don't have a straight up answer. So I've lost out on a lot of friendships and a lot of relationships because I couldn't be exactly what someone wanted me to be. But hey, now you know why. Because I'm the fucking moon, and I have to shine every fucking night and be this intuitive, emotional thing, and I'm ever changing. Even the moon has phases, you know. So if you know a Pisces individual, or if you're a Pisces listening to this, just embrace your phases, because the moon is a powerful part of your personality. You're just as mysterious. The moon always has a side of it hidden. Even when you see the face of the moon, there's a whole side of it that's dark. So I know a lot of quotes like that, you know, comparing people and the way that they live to the moon, because there's always a side of her. The moon always keeps a side of herself hidden, you know. And I know I said Pisces don't hide, but we hide the part that we don't understand, I want to say. Or it doesn't feel like we're hiding it. It's like others are hiding it from us. It's just weird. Hopefully there's some Pisces out there that understand what I'm talking about. But it doesn't matter because we always have the two fish, you know. So if one of the fish aren't working, it's not like we can just hop over to the other side like a Gemini. So yes, this card definitely represents the mysteries of life and wise beyond years. So if I was giving someone a tarot reading, and I try not to take this card so personally, because when this card comes up, I'm like, oh, the Pisces card, Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. But it definitely means intuition. It's almost like the star card. The star and the moon card and the sun card are very, very positive intuition, you know. Not so much the sun card. That's more about happiness and rejoicing. But the moon and the star is about following. You know, in both cards, there's something higher in the sky. I don't know if you can see both of those. It's getting darker, way darker. See this? But there's something in the sky that can be followed. So that is very, very powerful. Kind of as a metaphor for how Pisces live. And if this card were to come up in a reading, I would just know that this is emotion. So if this card came up, depending on the reading that I'm giving, but because, you know, you have to go off of what other cards are telling you too. But definitely, oh, there's better light, kind of. Definitely, if this card came up, I would tell the person to listen to their emotional intuition, because sometimes through our emotions and the way that we feel, you know, energy is real, and we respond emotionally to the energies around us. So if something's making you sad, or if it's making you afraid or angry, there's a reason for it, and that's where the Pisces card, the moon card, comes in. So it definitely represents the oneness of creation. And I say that because there's just every element here. If you want to consider this a fire, the sun, you know, and there's just different dogs. There's one a wolf, one dog, and a wolf is a part of a dog. And this is just a random species when it comes to the rest of the flow of the picture. So since there's three different, it's like the trinity of what people could be. Like Pisces are everything. They're the crayfish, the sun, the pillars, the water, the trees in the back, the path that you walk, the water is down here. Pisces is most like the universe, you know, and the universe represents like that wheel that I showed you. It's all about oneness, you know, just like all these cards I explained. We would not be anything without all. So here comes the Pisces to remind us that come into your consciousness and never stop dreaming. That's what this card, I wanted to say that. I wanted to leave with saying that this card is definitely a message to follow your intuition and to come into consciousness. You know, these animals would usually be doing animal things, but they're not. They're all responding to spirituality. So us as humans, you know, we could use this card and use the message of the Pisces to come into consciousness, because we do rule the subconscious, and I love to sleep. You know, I love to mess around in the subconscious realms, but you always have to wake up. If you just dream and you're asleep, then the dream has to stay a dream. Just like me, I had a dream to do this video. I had a dream to have tarot cards and to help people and to do readings. And now that I'm applying those dreams to the physical realm, I'm able to see those dreams and feel them in a more realistic way, because we are human, you know, we are here. But the Pisces card is definitely telling you to not stop dreaming about anything ever. So we've made it through. That was all the zodiac signs, and I just want to thank you guys for who listened all the way to the end. I have no idea how long this is going to be, but I know how long it felt, even though I had a great time. And oh, like I told you, I've just been waiting to do this video for so long. It's very passionate and close to my heart. And now, well, not quite. After I edit this video and, you know, do all the extra things and then get it out, I'll feel so much better about my tarot cards, because I'll feel like I took the time and the energy to explain, you know, because I'm a Pisces, and I feel like all 12 zodiac signs are significant. And now whenever I see one of those cards come up, I'll know that I respected that card, and I'll know that I did the right, you know, thing. I took a step to actually, like, all this energy is gonna basically act as an activation for this. So I feel ready. After I upload this video, I'm not gonna feel like there's anything else that I have to do before I, you know, do these readings for people who are not so close to home. You know, this is just something I wanted to do to ground and stabilize the energy between my tarot cards. Like, they're definitely charged and ready now that all the zodiac signs and their meanings have been revealed. And of course, if you guys have any additional, because I had a bunch of notes here and I did my best to follow them, and then at some point I just was like, screw it, I'm just going to read right off of it, because I get really involved in this and then I get talking and I get off track because my mind's really creative, I guess. So there was probably information left out, but I study this stuff on the reg. So if you have any questions about any of the tarot cards or anything astrology related, don't be shy to leave a comment below or to message me personally. I love talking about this kind of stuff. It's what I'm most passionate about, and it's what I take most pride in. I'd love to make this a career eventually for me. And also, before I go, I just want to let you know, I'm going to be uploading this on a Tuesday, which is tomorrow. I wanted to do all the work and then just edit it and then get it out to the Facebook and things like that on a Tuesday. And I'm doing that because I had this inspiration to do something called Tarot Tuesdays. So I'm going to be starting this hashtag. I mean, this is a very big deck of tarot cards. I probably should put the others in. I'll mix those up later. You always want to mix up your tarot deck, but this is the tarot deck, 78 cards. And yes, I will be choosing a tarot card to talk about every Tuesday to just kind of further enlighten my tarot deck. So yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in to my little zodiac, special. Now you guys all know what your what your tarot card is. And like I said, if you have any questions about it, let me know. I'd be so happy to further explain that to you. Or maybe you could give me a little insight about some of it too. Or maybe talk about like, oh yeah, that definitely applies to my life. Whatever it may be, guys, I'm always down to talk. Just want to thank you again for listening to this video. I know it was a little bit long. Hopefully it was worth it. Definitely worth it to me. Alright guys, have a astronomical day. The stars are in the sky. It's night. The vibes are here. Thank you for listening.